welcome to Switzerland. The long wait is finally over. The IFSC season 2017 is underway and we are live in Meiringen. Sitting in the Haslertal Valley in the Bernese Oberland of Switzerland, Meiringen is home to around 5,000 people and roughly the same number of sport climbing routes. What it lacks in size, Meiringen makes up for with character and history, and it enjoys several claims to fame. Firstly, it is claimed it was where the world's first meringue was created, and secondly, the Reichenbach waterfall above the village also hosted the fictional fight to the death between Sherlock Holmes, star of the famous Arthur Conan Doyle novels, and his nemesis Professor Moriarty. Nowadays, the 90-metre high falls are one of the most popular tourist attractions in Switzerland and enjoy a stunning view across the village and its surrounding mountains. This is the IFSC's second visit here, and it is the perfect venue to kick off our biggest season yet. And I'm joined here on stage by IFSC official photographer and chief editor of the CircuitClimbing.com, Eddie Falk. Eddie, not many people know the competition circuit better than you, and we've got some interesting names that might not be familiar to all the viewers here in the semi-finals. In the women's, you're particularly interested in Hannah Mühl, Vita Luken.
Yeah, what we're seeing really is the next generation coming through once again. I mean, only a couple of years ago the young guns were Stasa Gio, Chloe Collier, Andrea Kuhlmann. They're moving out of their teens into their 20s and we're getting a new crop. I mean, Hannah Mühl, it was her birthday last week. She's just turned 16 on the 1st of April, so she's really young. Vita Luken has been an amazing climber for a long time, but she kind of lives a little bit in the shadow of Janja Gambret, but an amazing climber in her own right. And when you look at them, yeah, there's a lot of strength coming through there.
And also in the men's competition, really interesting in 4th place, we've got Thilo from Norway.
Yeah, I mean, Thilo is a fantastic climber. He's been around a while. He was originally German, then Norwegian. Then they realized he was on a German passport, so he had to swap over, and now he's Norwegian again. He's just spent a month bouldering outdoors, a week indoors, and now, bam, he's like 3rd qualifier. And also we've got Tomoa Narasaki's younger brother, 17 years old, comes in and makes us into semis, which is fantastic.
And his compatriot Yoshiyuki Ogata through as well.
Absolutely, Yoshiyuki's another super young climber, but for a couple of years he's just looked phenomenal. He's coming into his own in Japanese domestic comps. He's really starting to push the big names like Tomoa and Kokoru, and I think we're going to see this season will be Yoshiyuki being one of the real big names.
Well, the boulders that we're going to start this live stream season on the semi-finals here in Meiringen were set by a very strong team led by a legend of the sport, Laurent Laporte.
My name is Laurent Laporte. I'm the chief rotator in Meiringen this year with a good team, very good team. Manu Hassler, Martin, and Olivier and Marc Davier, and it's a very good team. And we play a lot. We try to make the best for the climber, always. The rotator, this is the job. And we play with the holes, the volume and the wall. And try to make the nice move and test it a lot, and it's a nice job. Yeah, we start setting Sunday, and we have a good time. I think we are finished now, and it's cool. And but final and semi-final take maybe 3 days and quarter 2 days. The biggest challenge is to make some nice boulder, some new moves. Sometime, but sometime in final it depends of the competition. Sometimes you cannot try something too risky, and you have to find a good balance. And sometimes in the qualification you can try a risky move, new moves or something like this. And it's a hard job sometimes, yeah, to make a good balance between hard and to have the number of the top is very important. Because it's always super difficult to know. You just turn a little one hole and you have 5 top, and little the other side and you have just 1 top. So it's not easy to make the decision always. The process to make the decision is a team decision a lot, and experience for sure, experience from the team, experience from the chief. And sometimes the chief has to say, I make that, because it's not possible to find a solution. Every people have a different solution because every climber is different, and someone found something easy, another very hard. So you have to say yes, it's like this.
And Eddie, in today's semi-final, what's really interesting, we've got a lot of the established athletes, but we were chatting off air earlier, and you were saying the preparation for all the athletes has been really quite different, even amongst really established climbers.
Well, absolutely. I mean, what we've seen is we've seen a lot more athletes put an emphasis on the pre-season international masters events. So the RAB Quiff in the UK and Studio Block Masters in Germany. You had Zhongwon Chong, you had Yene Krudi, you had a lot of the strong climbers come out because they felt that last season it took them a couple of World Cups just to get going. And with the point situation, they can't risk that. They need to be on form from the start. On the other side of the scale, you've got Shauna Coxey, whose roadmap from injury finished yesterday at the qualifiers, and so she hasn't done a competition since finals in Munich last August.
And also Tomoa Narasaki's had quite different preparation. We haven't seen him in Europe until this weekend, and early signs are it's not gone too well for him.
Well, exactly. We don't know. Domestic competition is so strong in Japan anyway, but the style always changes. There is a European style, there's a French style, a German style, an English style, which is again different from the Japanese style. And if you come and you've got to adapt style, I think there is always a period, and I think Tomoa and Akio got a little bit caught out by that. You know, both of them sitting in 21st in their respective groups, out of semis, and for Tomoa especially as defending champion, that could be very hard to make back through the season.
Okay, well, some of the established names out and some of the bigger names still in, and surprise packages. If I had to put you on the spot, can I have a name in the women's and the men's competition who really impressed you yesterday and you think can really do something today?
I mean, it's so hard because they're all so impressive. You can't go past Janja Gambret. She is arguably the best climber in the world. She's still a kid. She's 18 years old, and her movement is unsurpassed. I mean, I love watching Janja. Her mental game can let her down, but in terms of climbing ability, remember last year at Meiringen, she was one to watch. In the guys, I'm really excited to see how Kokoro Fuji does on his first international this year. He's so consistent. He lost his way a little bit last year because he was training for lead, and he only just ended up losing the overall to Tomoa. But I really think Kokoro, Chon, Alexei, any of those big names. I'd also love to see Yene finally get it where he belongs. Yene's always had a mental block about World Cups, but he's always been good enough, so I'd love that to happen so much.
Okay, thanks Eddie. Well, it's time for us to get off the stage, for the athletes to get on it. It's up to the commentary box and Mike Langley.
Thanks Charlie. Hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We're up here in the commentary box. I'm joined with Marcin Schoeck. Martin, thanks so much for joining us. I know you've had a really busy week, and we have a few minutes before we start the competition. Just before we get into the start list, I'm going to have a little chat with Martin just to see how it went this week. Martin, you've been here since Sunday, as we saw there in the video with Laurent Laporte. How has the week been for you?
It was very nice. Always, as always, very hard to work, but with so experienced team, it was very cool to play with a lot of new stuff from Laurent and Manu.
Yep.
And
I think we've had an opportunity to have a look at the boulders. Obviously, you've been setting the boulders, and we're going to go straight to the start list actually, because the competition is pushing straight on. So let's go straight into that. We can see the women's semi-finalists already up on our screen, and Martin, a few surprise faces as we heard from Charlie and Eddie earlier. So straight away, Sierra Blair Coyle then, she would be very pleased to make the semi-final. Looking further down the list, we heard from the guys at the front there, Hannah Mule, also a surprise semi-finalist. And what is surprising about the semi-final today is the number of casualties from the qualifying round. Let me just read some names off for you, Martin. Some of the people who failed to make it through, and this list is quite staggering. Akio Noguchi in the women's, Anna Stor in the men's, Tomoa Narasaki, Shaw McCowan and Jakob Schubert. So these are some of the big names who didn't make the semi-finals. Why was this? Did you predict that?
there is a lot of very strong, talented new young generation climbers.
Yep.
And it's very hard. There is more than 20 people who can be in the semis.
Yep.
So there is always space to somebody who can be, but has to be out because it's not possible to have more than 20
I think
climbers.
that's really interesting. Obviously, this is only the first event of the season, and this is the real kind of this is the opportunity to see where everyone is and where they're at for the year, and you know, to see such big names get knocked out. I mean, it's a really interesting start to the season.
Yeah, for us it was also a little
A bit surprising.
Yeah, surprising.
Yeah. I mean, but like I say, competition climbing is one of the hardest games out there as a climber to come out every season and perform year on year. People like Akio and Anna have been competing for years and years and years. I'm definitely not saying that their race is run, but you know, there's lots of new people coming through, and some of these guys, a few of the people on the list, just 16 years old. It's crazy.
Oh yes, Akio is out of semis by only a few attempts, but she could climb better on the slab, which was not a very hard one.
Yeah, and we will have an opportunity to have a look at the wall, and there we go. You know, the wall here is fantastic, and obviously the holds and the volume supplied by the sponsors. Some of the sponsors, Cheetah and Flatholder. I mean, as Ruud said, you have the perfect products for the competition.
Yeah, that's true. We had a lot of fun playing with the new stuff from Cheetah and Flathold.
Yeah.
And especially double textured holds is something new, and you can play with.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a look at the boulders very soon. The competition's very close to the start. You know, we were looking through the boulders ourselves earlier. I think it looks like you've done an absolutely awesome job. Are you pleased with the semi-final? You think you've got it just right?
Yeah, we always hope to have just right difficulty of the problems.
Okay, I do believe we might be able to go down to Charlie at the wall. We'll see if Charlie is available at the wall for a quick interview.
Yes,
Charlie.
I'm here, Mike. And I'm alongside Laurent Laporte, whose profile we just saw, and who's now about to sit and watch his creations be climbed. Laurent, what's your emotion when you sit now and you're about to see the climbers? Are you nervous, or are you a bit more relaxed?
I think we are nervous. We are really motivated to see the first ball now, because this is like the first step for us.
And we can see on men's one there's quite a big jump. And the start, it's not very clear. Do you expect the climbers to face out or face in men's one?
They have to go in the roof with their hand. It's a little scary, but it's not super hard. There's problem, and we will like to see what's happened. And for the girl, it's special. They don't know the hole. They don't know how to manage this, and it could be very cool to see that.
Okay, so a dynamic start by the sound of things on men's one. And a bit of a tricky, complicated, hard to read one on women's one. Should be an interesting start.
Thanks, Charlie. Great insight there from the legend Laurent Laporte, and perfect timing as we are getting under the way. The first climbers out, Golamali, Rozak, Zadaya and Hung Ying Lee. The first climbers out, and both climbers kind of not the regulars on the stage we see, but both have great reputations and great history in competition climbing. Golamali has made 2 semi-finals in 2016 and 23rd in his last competition out at the IFSC in Paris. Let's see how he gets on the first boulders. Marcin, we're expecting some fireworks at the start of the competition here, some interesting starts.
Yeah, there is for the men's there is a big dyno where you have first push over the
pushing in under the roof.
Yep. And then jump 2 hands to the Gaston.
Yep.
After you have to fight on a really slopey hold, and the last move is also very spectacular, where you have to stop on the sidewall.
Yeah, we have a first look then at Lee battling it out and straight into these really 3D climbing, massive cheetah holds here, new holds on the circuit as well, so these competitors won't be so familiar with this. Obviously we're starting in reverse order here, so the top ranked climbers come out later on in the morning, but first of all, the start here, it's going to be super physical and really hard for these first climbers out.
Yeah, the first female problem is physical arrêt. Uh, we where Laurent played with his new big slopers, and it's the best way is to try to kind of hug them.
Yep, just get on board and get your arms in there and just get hugging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to see. We want to see some really physical climbing, and obviously the tour here is very diverse. Oh, really close there from the first guy out. Golamali he looks like he could stick that move.
Yeah.
But obviously you guys have designed these boulders in such a way that you've got to get down to 6, and it's such a hard job getting down the finalists to such a small number with such a crazy strong field. We've obviously seen, the likes of Tomohiro Narasaki, world number 1, Sean McCall, Jakob Schubert haven't even made it. So, I mean, what's this round going to be like? Surely it's going to be super, super hard.
Yeah, even this morning we worked a little bit on the problems and changed a little bit to make it maybe harder. And
just looking here then, Hung Ying Lee looking really, really strong. Great start from her. She's found the toe hooker on the left arête there. Crucial beta, but
yeah, she's really close now.
She's looking really good. Is this what you expected?
But it's better to match the black one.
Okay, Charlie's down back at the wall. Charlie, over to you.
Yeah, Mike, just me actually on my own. I'm just interested in Martin's take on this men's number 1. I see Golamali just missing out, but it looks from down here as if this boulder, men's 1, is going to be easier for the tall climber, which obviously Golamali is. Be interested to get Martin's take on that.
Yeah, so Charlie's saying he thinks that the men's number 1 might suit the taller climber. Obviously, you're quite tall in the scale of route setters. What do you think?
Yeah, it's when you propose some jumps, you have always to be careful about taller guys. But in this case, I'm sure it fits to everybody, and there is no possibility to cheat somehow.
I think that's the hardest challenge in route setting, is getting the universal difficulty for all the climbers. It's virtually an impossible gig. But the jump sometimes may favour the taller climbers if it's a pure distance jump. But up here, and especially when you get past this section, it's really bunched at the top as well. But looking back then, Hung Ying Lee on for another go. She's got 45 seconds left to get this done, and Golamali sticks the jump once more. This is a really cool move now. Get those legs up. Quite bunched here for him, and he just needs to fire for that last hole. But Martin, you were saying it's all tension at the top.
Yes.
Come on. Oh, and that was exactly the beta, huh? Kick the foot out.
Yeah, but
hold the swing.
Still, the sloper is very bad, and it's very hard.
Yeah, it's a really cool boulder to start the semi-finals. I think the climbers will like this as a start. Bit of flying around, kind of get the nerves out of the way. So Hung Ying Lee has decided enough is enough on boulder number 1 for the women. She did really well, but couldn't find a top. That will be the end of the rotation. Those guys will go off, have their 5 minutes rest, and we'll be welcoming the next climbers, which will be Sierra Blair Coyle from the USA and Gabriella Moroni from Italy. You must have seen Gabriella and Sierra on the circuit many times. What do you think for the first boulders for these guys?
Gabriele was looking very, very strong yesterday, so I think he can manage to finish this problem. Sierra, yeah, she did also quite well. She finished four problems in the qualies.
Yes, I think she was really psyched for the qualifiers yesterday. She had a really good turn in qualification, great result, and I think her training throughout the winter has obviously paid off. And that's one thing that is really fresh here. This is the first competition of the season. We've not seen these athletes since really the World Championships in September. So, it's all to play for, and some people will come out as surprise tops. Just as we see Gabriella, is this what you're expecting? He's going into the roof and facing out?
Yeah, but probably it's better to be face to the wall.
Obviously, for you guys at home who have not seen kind of competition climbing before, this is the first time that these competitors would have seen these boulders. It's on site, as we say, so they come out, they have a look, and they have just 5 minutes to get it done. And that goes for problems 1, 2, 3, and 4 as they work their way down the wall, right to left. And Sierra then, just 23 from the USA, semi-final twice last year, and had a great result in Chongqing as 12th. Like I say, she's been training hard, and hopefully she can pull one out the bag here and maybe make her first finals. So come on, Sierra.
Come on.
She's looking really solid on these holds,
Yes.
though. Really happy so far. Ooh, just as I say that, I mean, obviously, like we mentioned, this is one of the first times they would have seen these holds. Just as Gabriella sticks the dyno, makes it look easy this time. Come on. Great close-up of the volumes there. Matching this hold, hopefully to stabilise and then firing to the finish hold. Come on, Gabriella. Come on. Here we go. Oh!
That's so close.
You can hear the screams of anger from here. That was so close. Perfect start from Gabriella Moroni. I really do hope he can stick that, but it would appear then, Marcin, that holding the last hold is definitely not a joke.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Very hard indeed, but that's what we're here for. This is the International Bouldering World Cup. If it wasn't hard, you know, we'll be in the wrong studio.
Of course.
So Sierra pulls on again, and I think what's interesting about this ladies problem is just how complex it is at the bottom. You've got these huge slopers and these kind of fiberglass volumes that she's holding now, and just reading the beta is so tough.
There is many possibilities. I think every women in this semi can do it different way.
Yeah. Do you think is that kind of tactics that the route set is used to kind of potentially make people drop attempts, is by making it complex, making it really difficult to read?
Of course, sometimes we just use this let's say style of setting.
Yeah. Well, later on we'll see some of the later boulders as we look.
The men's problem is more obvious.
Okay, we've got Charlie back down on the ball. Charlie. Okay, I heard that Charlie's just getting ready as we look at Gabriella Moroni this time. Come on. Oh, no, he had it. He almost looked like he relaxed there. He thought it was in the bag. Oh, he's going to be fuming with that. That was so close. He looked like he almost got the finish or kicked the wall and then just relaxed his shoulders just a touch to get the match, and then he was out of there.
Yeah.
I really do hope he can get back up there, but he's cruising the bottom section. But as we look at Sierra, she's really struggling to get back to her high point from earlier in her first burn.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's physical from the very beginning.
So here we go then, with 1 minute to spare. Gabriella Moroni pulls back on. Come on. This time he has to just stick that finish on. You can see how psyched he is. Come on, Gabriella. Come on. This guy is so strong. So many great results over the years. Oh, no. Just dropped out the finish hold again and was nowhere near as good as he was in the last burn, but you can definitely think that the drain is getting to him now. He's had quite a lot of attempts already.
Yes.
So you would think this is possibly his last go on this. Can he make an impression on the semi-finals already? Come on.
Come on, Gabi, come on.
Come on, he really wants it. Come on now. Come on. Oh, this time, surely, come on. Oh, no, that is a heartbreaker.
Ay, ay, ay.
That's a real shame, but Sierra's fighting still with 10 seconds remaining. Come on, Sierra. Come on, she's back to close to her high point early, but it's not meant to be. It's a real shame for Sierra, but she has to go back, recover, and live to fight on for the next boulder.
Okay, it's not so easy.
Yeah, it's not an easy start, and it's the first look at Hannah Mühl from Germany, just 16-year-olds. Charlie and Eddie Falk were talking about her earlier. Just incredible. She's birthday has only just gone. She's only just turned 16. Maybe this is the season for the young guns. What do you think?
Yes, we can. We see a lot of young people in this semi-final already.
I mean, what's interesting in the women's, we've now got a 16-year-old, and Hung Ying Lee, I believe, is 31. So she's almost double the she's double the age, pretty much, effectively. So yeah, it's totally crazy. And so this competition now moves on. It's our first look at men's 2 and women's 2. First opportunity to have a look at those boulders. The women move on to a really technical slab, but the route setters have pegged this one as one of the easier ones in the women's tour. So they have 4 boulders in total, and Nicolas Pelleros from France is out battling on men's number 1s. Great angle there. Fantastic wall here in Meiringen in Switzerland, but not enjoying that sloper up there. The jump, the boulder itself seemingly is very few moves, but it's really power draining. Just as we look at Hannah making really good progress. This is where we saw Sierra on the wall. working the technical footwork up the erect there. Great work, great body tension.
Yeah, she's hugging.
She's doing it really well. This last move is far though, a lot of shoulder power. Come on.
It's better to match, but yes.
Oh, and a big fall. Yeah, I mean, it's a great start from Hannah. So young and just looks so confident out there. Just so happy to be competing on the big stage. So for you guys at home, this is where it's going to get interesting in the semi-finals. As the competition progresses, we'll end up with 8 climbers on the wall at the same time. We'll do our absolute best to bring you a bit of everything. Obviously, we've only got so many cameras, so we're going to try and cut between all the different climbers, cut to all the different action, and we'd love to hear from you at home. So do get in touch. Hashtag IFSCWC. We'd love to hear if you guys have a chat about the competition, see what's going on. So Golamali just really struggling with the start of this men's 2. Martin, you thought this was potentially the hardest of the men's tour, and it's
For sure.
It's a bit of a marathon, this boulder.
Yeah, there is some moves to do. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it's you have to show really different qualities of your climbing.
Yeah. All right, we're back with Charlie.
So I'm here with one of our route setting team here, Manu. We're just looking at men's 2, which I believe you're involved with setting. What's the style of this problem? Is there a key? Is there a hidden method? What can we expect?
Yeah, it's a little bit hidden because you arrive in a 2-finger pocket and you can't really match on it, but you need to change your hand. So the best way is just to make like a flying change on it.
When you say the 2-finger pocket, you mean the bonus hold?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And you have to kind of fly through. Just tell me what you mean. What does the move look like?
I think if you were very strong, you could hold it with just 1 finger and then change, just match with the other finger, with the left hand. But I think most of them will just took off the right hand and put in the left hand very fast.
Okay, time will tell. Thanks, Manu. Back up to you, Mike.
Yeah, it's really great to hear route setters such as Manu Hasler there giving the insight into these boulders. And Martin, obviously you're involved in route setting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the climbers tackling this block. It looks super entertaining, and we're starting to have a look. The first guy, Golamali, having a look. So, I mean, those holds are so small up there. Really grim crimps.
Yeah, but I think there is a lot of climbers in these semis that will
They'll be happy on that.
will be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of slopers and a lot of volume. Sometimes when they get to a crimp, it's nice. Just as we look at the young girl, Hannah, she's got close to this last hole a couple of times now.
Come on. Yes.
Hannah touches it. Come on, oh, no. So close. Just so we can see, Golamali's looking good now. This is the swap Manu was talking about. He has the pocket with right hand, but he needs it deep with his left. Trying to go off the dual texture off the top. Do you think that'll work?
I don't think so.
Looks like it's the end of that 5-minute rotation, and we'll be working those climbers back down the wall. We'll see climbers now. Fresh set on men and women's 1, and moving on to women's 2 will be Sierra, and men's 2 will be back with Gabriela. But joining us in the women's competition then is Alma Besvata from Germany, and the legend in the men's, Dmitry Sharafutinov.
Okay.
I mean, Dmitry, let's just have a look at his record. It's totally incredible what this guy's achieved over the years, and you know, it's been a little bit on and off, I would say, potentially over the last year. But Dmitry is 5 fifth places in 2016, 3 previous World Cup wins. So Dmitry potentially is one of those guys who could get to finals. Do you think today? Do you think these boulders will suit him?
Yeah, for sure there is some problems. For example, the last one he can manage quite fast.
Yeah. Is that because we'll get a look at those later on, but just the size of the holes, the Russians are known for their crimping strength.
Yeah.
So have an opportunity to have a look at Gabriela then, so close on men's number 1, who's really fighting now for this men's 2, but the sequence here is really quite tricky.
Yes.
And not only is it hard for small holes, but the sequence has definitely got to play a part on the number of attempts burnt to get this men's 2 done. So a lot of climbers standing on the mats at the moment, but Alma Besvata is pushing on here and looking good. Team Germany looking so strong at the start of the season here in Switzerland. This is where we've seen climbers falling though, but she's got it. She's looking really strong. Can she get the match? Yes,
she got it.
And a huge crowd here comes alive straight away. Semi-finals is underway in our first top. This is Dimitri on the right-hand side then. Plenty of time to spare, is looking really good. This slope with the right hand, honestly, it looks so bad. Such a steep bit of wall as well, and just to fire up to that finish hold like that. I wonder if conditions are going to play a part on this hold later on.
I hope not, but it's really possible.
Yeah, I mean, such a bad slope on such a steep angle, and you know, we've got 20 male competitors to get through, and that's going to be a lot of chalk up on that hold. But yeah, the brushes are there, so hopefully the conditions will stay good. The temperature in here is okay for climbing. I think it's quite warm, but it's not too hot. You can see most of the competitors coming out in shorts and vests. Oh, excuse me, I'm back. Yeah, so Sierra also then on women's number 2 marching. You were saying this is potentially one of the easier problems, but he still has to favour the slab climbers.
Of course, it's special. Slab is always special. If you don't feel good inside this kind of climbing, it can be easy, and you're not going to climb it.
Okay. There's so much action going on here. We do have Charlie back down the wall. Charlie.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just at the bottom of women's 2. I was just chatting to Olivier, one of the route setting team. I said to him, what's the key to this slab, this women's 2? He said, flexibility, power, and patience. 3 things I definitely don't have. And apparently the key move is first getting to the bonus, which Sierra's just about done, but also staying there. So it'll be interesting to see how Sierra gets on. Yeah, you see she comes off, gets one hand onto the bonus, but can't get 2. But yeah, Olivier said getting there is hard, but staying there is even harder. So women's 2 will be really interesting.
Yeah, thanks Charlie. And you know, it's so difficult for these climbers just to come out, and each challenge is difficult. She's had a burly roof to start on massive slopes, and now she has to completely change her game up and get onto the slab, and that's to make that transition from one style to the other is a real skill of the World Cup climbers. So Dimitri on men's number 1, arms folded, not happy at the moment. He's got a minute to spare, and he's known for doing boulders right at the death. And a great starting move here. Such a cool move here. Men's number 2 with Gabriella Moroni, but he's trying to squeeze that crimpy pinch with his right hand, and he's realistically he needs to be dropping into that left hand to undercut screw on, but he's just not happy, and he's trying everything. With only 35 seconds left, he's kind of just looking at all of the options. Look at this first move, so cool. Flick of the leg, catch the crimp and jump back down. But this is Dimitri's final go. Can he get it done? Come on, David Dimitri, come on. This time we've seen Gabriella so close to this move as well. Martin was saying you need to get this match before firing up. Come on, but it's really running out of time here. No, it doesn't look like it's meant to be. So still no top on men's number 1. We'll be moving on to the next rotation. Joining us in the women's category will be the young Slovenian Vita Lukan. And in the men's, part of the massive team Japan, Rei Sakamoto, and Marcin, the Japanese, completely dominating the men's category in qualifying. You know, nearly a quarter of them all Japanese making it through, so we'll be seeing a lot of Team Japan this weekend. How come just the Japanese seem to be really doing so well, dominating so hard?
I don't really know, but I suppose they have good training team, and just it's strange.
Maybe it's the sushi. Maybe we should all be on a sushi diet from now on. But yeah, Team Japan so strong here, such a great team, and yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of them. But there's action all over. Young Slovenian girl Vita starts her campaign in women's number 1. Starts fighting her way through the roof, and the climbers are moving down the wall. Wow. So the results are slowly coming in, and say we have got got to get this down to a very select group for finals, so it's going to be hard. And this is the back end of the competition, as it were, with 20 competitors. We're going down to the top qualifying positions coming out at last. So final competitors out will be Kokoro Fuji and Shauna Coxey. They were number 1 qualifiers. Just having a look here then on women's number 2, looking really strong. She's doing so well here. Come on. Come on. Hannah Mule then, so young, so strong. Come on, she's really in the groove now, looking good. Time to chalk up. Come on now. Can we see our first top? This finish hold isn't really a finish hold, it's more of an upside down press where you've got to get balanced and take the weight off your arms to get the match. She's looking good now and the crowd's right behind her. Come on. She's got one hand on the finish hold. Can she make it 2? She's really up high and that's it. Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, she's going to be very happy with that.
Come on, Ray!
Ray Sakamoto then looked also close on men's number 1. Action really hotting up here. Fantastic start here to the first World Cup of the season in Switzerland. Fantastic venue and fantastic setting so far throughout the weekend. Let's hope it continues. Carlo Mali, now then, this is our first look at men's number 3. Marcin, this is one of those boulders possibly where you can't really read the problem. You just have to get up there and start feeling it out.
It's not very obvious what to do, and it's slab, so it's all about feeling. We suppose that this problem is gonna be very hard to.
Okay, all of the action up here in the commentary box. We're back down with Charlie.
Hey Mike, I was just listening to your discussion then about Team Japan and how successful they've been. And another team who obviously went from strength to strength, particularly last year, Team Slovenia, and we can see Vita Lucan getting on pretty well with women's 1. She was a climber that Eddie identified early on as someone to watch out for. And also Hannah Mühl of Germany, also identified by Eddie. That's what we're paying the big bucks for. Hannah so far looking strong, and Vita also looking good. But yeah, just jumping into your discussion really about Team Japan and adding Team Slovenia as another team that's really had an incredible last year and looking to follow it up again this time.
Yeah, thanks Charlie, absolutely. And our first top with Ray Sakamoto then. Marcin, you're pretty psyched about that. It's so cool as a route setter to see your boulders get done.
Yeah, I was very scary about this problem, seeing Dimitri just before.
Yep.
But
yeah, it's in the bag. Once someone's got a top, I think this boulder's going to get done. Quite a few tops later on in the competition, I imagine.
Yeah, it's possible.
So our first look then at Hung Ying Lee on women's 3. Another boulder that's kind of like men's number 3. Obviously it's a completely different angle, but a lot of holds on there, a lot of sequences to work out. So back with Team Slovenia on women's number 1, Vita. We saw the young German climber just a minute get this top, so the bar has been set high on this boulder already, so it's going to become down to tops very much like men's number 1. And so we go back to women's 3, really high up on this block, but she's still got quite a bit to do. Really off balance, a lot of body tension required here. Come on. Come on, come on. Oh no, just runs out of time at the death. She was so close. Such a good effort there. And our next rotation, Megan Mascarenas from USA. And the big man, Jan Hoyer. Jan did really well in qualifiers. He kind of looked like it was all part of a day's work for him, Jan Hoyer. But he'll be pleased, I think, to make semis. You know, occasionally he has missed them, but 2015 he just basically dominated every single competition, won pretty much everything. Let's see what 2017 makes for Jan Hoyer.
Yes, it's going to be interesting.
So I think this could suit Jan. You know, he's a super powerful climber. If you've ever seen his training videos on the internet, it's crazy. So we'll see, and we have a look at Gabriella Moroni on men's 3.
Come on, Gabri.
Okay, we're going to go back to Charlie down at the wall.
Yeah, just an interesting point in the competition, really, this, Mike. It's one of the most interesting lineups of climbers we're going to see on the stage at any one time. Jan Hoyer didn't have the best of seasons last year. Still didn't quite look at his peak yesterday, but made it through. We've got Megan Mascarenas, who was really successful in the World Cups. We did see her in. We've got Gabriele Moroni on the men's three. So it's one of the most interesting rotations. Not to forget Dimitri Sharafuzanov as well. But one feature of the wall we've got here in Meiringen, and we're seeing it on women's three. We just saw it then, and we're now seeing it again with Sierra. Is the walls here are relatively short. So the route setters have had to cram in a huge amount of moves into a relatively small space. And I'm standing right underneath women's three, and the number of... My maths isn't good enough to even count all the holes, but there's a lot of holes and very complicated bowling. It's definitely going to be one to keep an eye on, and this whole rotation of climbers is just a really interesting one.
Yeah, I think the route setters have put on an awesome challenge, and the boulders throughout the qualification were really, really high quality, and we're seeing that again here. As we see back into women's one, another climber high up. Just you can see the legs of Dimitri Sharafuzanov there on men's number two. First climber to really establish himself on the pocket. Jan Hoyer no top so far. Just around 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes still to go.
Come on, Dimitri, come on.
On the slab, looking good now. I mean, these dual texture footholds are so evil from the route setters. Just really, really hard to put the weight down through the feet. German climber and women's two just really got to find the footwork, relax. One of the hardest challenges, as I said before, just after women's number one going back, relaxing, just trying to come out with a fresh head for women's number two. Sierra also on women's number three, no tops yet, and not so high, but just still got time. Come on, Sierra. So we have 6 climbers out on the wall at the moment. The next rotation will be our first look at number 4, when we have the full 8s. And that's when it gets really exciting. 8 climbers to keep an eye on. As we look at the moment, Alma Besvata from Germany. Having a look at the bottom with women's number 2. Not great progress so far. Brush is brushing the holes nice and high up there. Just off screen then, route setter getting excited because Gabriele Moroni finds a top on the slabs, and it's so cool for the route setters to see everything get done.
Sorry.
That's the passion we want to see from the route setters, and you wouldn't be a route setter if you didn't have passion for climbing. So an awesome top there for Gabriele. He's had a great start to the competition. It's going to be, we're slowly going to start learning is how many tops it's going to take before we get to know roughly what it's going to take to get through to the finals. So Dimitri is looking good now. He's got through the pocket section. He's right at the end of this boulder.
It's very nice. He found the beta. Yes, come on, Dimitri.
See how bad those slopers are. Oh, no. That buzzer in the background you can hear, that's the 1 minute warning. So they have 1 minute left, and we can just have a look back. Gabriele Moroni's top here. He's going to be super psyched with this. The way he just fired up off that really small, slippery foothold was really good. And he's looking really on fire here. Gabriele Moroni setting the bar high to begin with. So guys, do remember to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Hashtag IFSCWC. As we, oh, man, Jan Hoyer is really upset. A big fall there. No top for him so far on men's number 1. Potentially a bit of a surprise and something he's not going to be too happy as he walks off stage. Dimitri's firing for the finish hold. Oh, he had to go there all or nothing with only a few seconds left, but no top on men's number 2 just yet. As we come on to our first look at men's and women's number 4 and our next rotation of climbers. Andrew Kumin from Team Switzerland, and the crowd is going to start getting fired up here for the locals. The support throughout the weekend for the Team Swiss has been absolutely awesome, and no doubt it'll continue. And the arena here is huge, and it's completely packed, full of spectators already, standing room only, and that's what we want to see at a World Cup. Everybody getting behind the climbers, enjoying the boulders. Joining us in the men's category then will be David Fierenberg from Team Germany. Great result for David to get through to the semi-final round. He'll be definitely psyched with that. David Fierenberg then, just 21 years old, 4th in Munich 2016. He's also a great route climber, so for him to get through to semi-finals is obviously a great result, and he's well deserved a place. And we get to see Team Japan, Rei Sakamoto working straight. Oh, look at this! Oh, he's gone full 360. Oh, come on! Remember, guys, that's just a 2-finger pocket. This is crazy. Oh, gets a swap.
Easy.
What a sick move! Come on! Just drops off there, but Rei Sakamoto setting an early standard here in the men's category.
So strong.
But such a cool move as well. The crowd loved that sort of stuff, you know. Spinning around, locking off on one arm was super, super impressive.
It's funny.
So, I mean, that piece of wall for men's 2 isn't really that steep, and to get kind of foot off, campusing, swinging around, locking off, is really cool. But just before we carry on in the commentary box here, we're going to go back down to Charlie.
Yeah, well, I was about to talk about the number of holds on women's 3. I did actually count them in the end. 23, depending on your definition of what's a hold and what's a volume and what's a bolt on. But yeah, 23 holes, really interesting. Be interested to get Martin's take on that a bit later on. But I was just about to say, on men's 2, yes, it is 2, so I couldn't see the sign, men's 2. The move then with the 2-finger pocket and the casual switch of hands, absolutely unbelievable. They're a knowledgeable bunch here in Switzerland. That got the biggest reaction from the crowd of anything apart from the top so far.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, it was a crazy move. Just as you see, Andrea Kuhlmann just missing the top there, and the local crowd is so much behind her. There's just so much power going behind the Swiss team here, just in the background. David Fierenberg mix out on the top. Here we go, then Rei Sakamoto back on men's number 2. Come on, Rei, can he finish it? He's looking solid. Gets it with one hand. Crowd want to see a top. Come on. Yes. Rei Sakamoto.
Really impressive.
So psyched, and he wants this today. Awesome effort. Let's have a watch of a replay there. This was so cool. What a boulder. He really had to just fight the body tension there to get the leg swing under control. You know that, Martin, what's that finish hold like? Is it positive, or is it?
It's kind of sloper, but you have to be very precise to get into this hole.
Just as we look then, men's number 3, it's hard to focus on all the action all at once here. Galamali looking really strong on men's 4, but I mean, it's incredibly difficult. It's kind of a step slab and super powerful at the bottom, and then into another section of slab at the top. But we'll have a look at that later on, just as we see the German athlete David Fierenberg. Again, another guy slipping off the slope, going for the finish hold. So great action so far, and the crowd is incredible here already.
Of course.
They love their World Cup bouldering. This whole area is just so full of outdoorsy kind of people, and just to bring the World Cup to the local town here is so cool. Just in the background we can see Hung-Ying Lee just having a first look at women's number 4. I'm sure we'll see plenty of action tonight, and that is another really exciting boulder. A lot of spinning around, a lot of flying around on pockets, so we're really looking forward to that. But to be honest, Galamali is not enjoying this bottom, this men's number 4. You had this pegged as a pretty hard boulder.
Yes, it's very physical beginning.
Yeah, and he's called it a day on that, but it's 22 seconds left for Fierenberg here to get it finished. Not meant to be, not quite getting the height. And when it comes to controlling that swing, it's not going to help if you're low on that finish hold, but 10 seconds left for the Slovenian athlete here on women's number 2. Come on. Yeah, Vita Lucan just not quite enough there, unfortunately. Not meant to be for her. She'll have a rest now. Come back with fresh legs, ready for women's number 3. So not a great deal of tops at the moment. Obviously, Rei Sakamoto setting the bar high, but it's very, very early still in the semi-final round. Obviously, we've got 20 climbers to get down to a small group of finalists. It's such a hard job for everybody out there to get through to finals. It's crazy. And Martin, obviously, you're very much a part of the route setting team. How hard is it to watch your work?
It's always exciting. You wonder if the problems are going to work as you wish.
Okay, we're going to go to Charlie, who has one of the event organisers here. We've been mentioning how great an event is and how huge the crowd is. Let's hear from the organiser.
Yeah, I'm here with Christian Willi, who is the president of this World Cup here in Meiringen. Christian, how does it feel to finally see all your work come together? We have the climbers here at last.
It's great. It's really fantastic how the climbers are working here. It's just a great view. Just great to see it.
And you were just talking about that top on men's boulder 2, the Japanese climber Rei Sugimoto. That was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. This physical power they have, it's really unbelievable.
What's been your favourite of the boulders so far? Which one has stood out for you? Which of the boulders has been the best for you so far? We've seen all the boulders now. Which is your favourite?
I think one of the favorites is this on the M4 from the man with the big volumes looking down. It will be tricky.
That was Christian Willi, our organiser here in Meiringen, and yeah, keep an eye on men's 4. We've got Gabriele Moroni on it as we speak.
Yeah, that's definitely a good shout. We'll see plenty of that later on. For now, it's Sol Saar battling with women's number 1, and Sol, just 23, has made 6 semi-finals last year and had a 5th replacing Mumbai. So Sol Saar is on form, and we've seen her earlier in some pre-season events and looking really strong. And you know, she's really potentially, she's got to be a fight for a finalist. You know, she's coming out 13th, but still, you know, just such a strong field, talent all the way through. And just because she didn't top qualifiers in first place doesn't mean she won't be potentially making an impression on the finals list. We have a look then at men's number 4. Gabriele Moroni, the man at the moment on fire after his top of men's number 3. The organiser loved the look of this one, and it's certainly a really good looking boulder as we cut to Jan Hoyer on this crazy move of the pocket match. Got to switch fingers. Really cool move, shock load in those middle 2 fingers. Come on, Jan. Can he finish it? We saw Rei Sugimoto firing his last move. This sloper, his right hand looks so bad. Interesting there, Martin. He tried to go again with his right hand. Maybe that's not going to work for him.
Yes, we tried to make this move, so it couldn't be possible like this.
Yeah, we'll see later on, but I think Jan's probably going to have a second look at that. Just have a look at our first men's climber. Martin Stranek is out in men's number 1. Martin did really well here last year, I believe, and he's one of those guys who's always knocking around the semi-finals, and second in Meiringen last year, 2016. He also had a 7th in Vail and 17th in Munich. So Martin Stranek definitely could make an impression on the finals list, but let's see how he gets on men's number 1. For now, we're going to concentrate on Gabriele Moroni for men's number 4, and we've got on the right hand side of the screen there Dmitry Sharafutdinov and Alma Vesvata in the background. So Gabriele's looking good now, is high up on the slab. Can he get it finished? This guy's on fire on the slabs today.
Yes, very nice.
Great job from Gabriele Moroni. Super good. That would be 2 tops for him. That will send him very close to the top of the leaderboard currently with Rei Sugimoto. So we'll see where that puts him.
So it looks like we have already all men's problems stopped. So it's a good sign for us.
So far so good. And so if all the problems have been topped, it's realistically to get into finals you're going to have to be performing well on all of the boulders.
Yeah.
It may come down to the number of attempts on the 4 boulders. We'll see.
I don't think so.
You know more than me. You've been up there. What do you think?
It's very different. It's every problem is different.
Just as we look there, Jan Hoyer just really unhappy with the current situation. Slapping the mats in anger. It's not meant to be so far. No tops for him on men's 1 on 2, but we'll see how he gets on later on in the competition. That will end the competition for Sierra. She had a good competition, realistically. Very happy to make semi-finals. We'll see how that leaves her in the finals list. So moving on with the next rotation, Katja Kadik from Team Slovenia will be out, and Roland Rugens from Latvia. Roland had a pretty good year really, 2016. Made finals twice, a 6th and a 4th. So yeah, it's another guy to watch out for, the young Latvian. He'll be starting his campaign on the right-hand side of the wall. The climbers move along the wall, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 5 minutes rest between each boulder. 4 boulders to tackle in total, with say just 5 minutes on each one. So many climbers out now, all the boulders in action. We have another look at men's number 4. This is a really interesting piece of wall here to set on, Marcin. You know, a really kind of steep stepped slab almost, you know, super powerful at the bottom and then really slabby at the top. Is it difficult to find the kind of the right standard on this kind of wall?
Yeah, it's very complex about the feeling, about how much you have to push on the volume.
Yeah. We'll see a bit more of that, but it's a lot in the footwork there. We saw Gabriele find the top in there, but I mean, obviously he did really well on the slabs, so Gabriele's on fire on the slabs at the moment.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're really going to see that there is a mixed tour here, as always in the World Cup, a bit of all the styles.
Yes, look, Ray.
Vital. Excuse me. Andrea Koeman then. Athlete 138 looking really good here. The crowd's right behind her. Oh, the flexibility, she's going for the super high leg. She's having another look. Oh. To get the leg up there is crazy. Come on. Crowd's right behind her. Can she find a top? She's got to find a balance point here. There is nothing really on that finish hold. She's got to press on the underside of it. Come on. Yes.
She's got it.
Fantastic result there. Andrea Koeman really well on women's number 2. And it's so cool to see some of the local Swiss team really cranking. So on the shot there, 4 boulders in action, all boulders 3 and 4. So much going on with just 2 minutes left in this rotation. Roland and Katja's making good effort. We've seen a lot of climbers get to this point and not progress to the finish hold, but let's see if Katja can make it happen. Come on. See the precision required in the footwork here. She's looking really comfortable in that position. It's crazy. Such body tension, really draining first boulder here. Did you on purpose kind of set like a really physical boulder to start?
Yeah, somewhere in the round there should be one physical problem.
Yeah, it just happens to be the first one.
The second one is slab, so you can rest a little bit. So.
And how do you guys go about deciding the order across the wall? Is it just the way the wall's built and you go right to left, or do you like to mix it up?
Yeah, in the semi-final, it's better to go to start in on one hand and go.
Yep. One side to the other.
Yes.
Logical and easy for the climbers.
Yes.
You can see then bottom right hand side of the screen, David Fehrenberg fighting through the pockets, and Ray Sugimoto not so happy on men's number 3 in the slab. Ray really strong on the powerful boulders. 1 minute remaining for these guys as the brushes step in. Incredible support and organisation here. Over 100 volunteers just for this event alone. It's incredible for the local community to get together and support this event. That's why it's so important for us to enjoy the climbing, enjoy the route setting, and the athletes to really put some power down. I think what's really interesting about the first event of the season is just this is our first opportunity, as we keep saying, to look at the athletes. And I think psychologically, I think a lot of these athletes really just want to get the season underway. They've put a tremendous amount of work into training from the last few months, and this is their first outlet to see where they are for the season and what they need to do. And for those who unfortunately didn't make the semi-finals, you know, the big names as we mentioned before, Akio and Anna, Tomoe Narasaki, Sean McCall, Jakob Schubert, these guys have got to rebuild themselves, and it's so hard to have a negative setback at the first competition.
Yeah, but it's not a very very important what is going on the first because the same thing was last year.
Yeah.
For Tomoa.
Yep.
He was not in the semis here in Meiringen,
Okay,
but finally he won the overall road car.
I think we've noticed before that Team Japan, they seem to start the season slowly and just build momentum throughout the year. You know, we see some teams, they come in really, really strong on the first event and then slowly burn out throughout the year. Just as we have a look then, first men number 1, Manu Cornu, looking really strong there. This guy's so fired up, a great finish to the season last year, made finals in the World Championships. You could see him matching that hold there. Ooh, just couldn't quite get the height and the rotation on that finish hold, but it was a good first burn there from Manu.
Yes.
So Manu Cornu made 4 semi-finals last year, like I said, 3rd in the World Championships in Paris and 6th in Munich, so he had a really good finish to the year. Didn't start so well, but finished really strong, so hopefully he can continue that into 2017. You know, Manu's a real crowd favourite. He really puts on a good show for the audience and for you guys at home, so I hope we can see more of him. Just as we look then, Martin Stranick wasn't meant to be on men's number 2. We have Charlie back down on the wall.
Mike, I'm actually just underneath women's 3 and 4. Really interesting, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe my scores up today, we haven't seen the top on either of these boulders. They both look super complicated. I mentioned about women's 3 earlier, 23 holds by my count. Be interested to see if the climbers are missing something, if there's a key hold or a key method that they haven't found yet. Can you quiz Martin about that, please?
Charlie, worst timing in the world. Martin has had to run off. He's spotted something that he needs to do technically on the wall. He will be joining us very shortly, and we will put that question to him. But women's 3 and 4, like you say, very tricky indeed, and no tops. But like, we've got many competitors still to come. So
we've got Megan Mascarenhas is out on women's 3 again, and seemingly not having any more joy than anyone's come before her. It's I'm sorry to drop you in it there. I didn't realise Martin had disappeared, but they both look exceptionally tough.
Well, I mean, yeah, Megan Mascarenhas is a super strong climber. Made finals 7 times previously, so if she's struggling on women's number 3, then it's definitely top end for the ladies. But you know, maybe she's coming out joint 15th for the semi-final. Maybe she's not quite on form for this event. You know, time will tell later on.
Yeah, but by the way, Mike, apologies if you're getting a little background noise. There's some fairly vocals for support for Jan Hoyer right behind me.
Well, that's what we want to see, passion in the audience. The climbers just love competing, and those who didn't make the semi-finals, they're right there for their fellow athletes. And yeah, it's really cool to see everyone just focusing on the competition, focusing on the moves and giving their climbers support. Just as we have a look at Dimitri just fighting his way through, and as Martin said, it's all about the smearing on the feet, so just powering through the feet. As we cut to men's number 1, so much action going on here, 8 boulders on at the same time. Frenchman Manu Cornu fighting, not happy. It's really interesting. Saw Rei Sugimoto really destroy that boulder earlier and not much action since, so yeah, Rei's put himself in a great position so far in the semi-finals with 2 tops and 6 attempts so far. So Rei will be taking an early lead. Gabriella Moroni just behind here with 2 tops and 7, as we see the powerful, incredible strength of Martin Stranick. On men's 2, we've seen a few climbers get to this point now, but it's definitely a lot about the last move. Come on, Martin. It's a massive hold that, but the actual bit they can hold on to is really grim, and that's a great look. Women's number 4, one of our first looks at this, really. A really cool timing jump out with the right hand and to stop the swing, catching the left hand undercut, which is just really a very small, smooth, round screw-on smear on the left hand side of that volume. As we look at Sol Saar and women's number 2, we have seen this topped recently. So Sol, the route set is pegged on women's number 2 as one of the easier boulders, so a bit disappointing not to see Sol there. And Manu Cornu pretty much throwing his toys out the pram there, not happy with the start of his semi-final round. So just as we get the next rotation, we have Charlie with Graham down at the wall.
Yeah, I'm here with Graham Alderson. He's a technical delegate here in Meiringen, a veteran of IFSC comps. Graham, just before the climbers get on the wall, people that aren't aware of a lot of the behind-the-scenes elements of a World Cup, tell us what a technical delegate does.
Well, technical delegate's job is pretty wide-ranging. Liaise with the organisers, with the judging team, ultimately you guys are close from the web streaming to ensure that you've got what you need and camera position for everyone there. I'm also the rep of the IFSC, so in many respects it stops with me. If there's a cancellation to be done, for example, boulders that are outside, we have to cancel them. Ultimately, it's my decision. I have to ensure the anti-doping's there, look after the ceremonies, pretty much everything.
And how's Meiringen been so far? Seems to have been seamlessly organised at our end.
It's been one of my easier jobs. The Swiss organisation are very good. Kevin, who's from the Swiss Alpine Club, who's working in cooperation with the actual local organisers, is an ex-athlete. So he's got an athlete's perspective, which is really good, because sometimes the organisers forget some of the nice little touches, like a boulder map in the qualification. Kevin had done a really nice one. Normally we hand drawing them at the last minute, but Kevin, he'd thought about this, he'd prepared it in advance. He's organising the athletes to the changing tent. He's got a different perspective, so that's nice to see it.
Small things that make the difference. Just a quick one before we head up to Mike. Have you had a chance to see many of the climbers yet? Have you been backstage? Who's impressed you from what you've seen so far?
Oh, of course, all of them impressed me. You can't possibly expect me to have a favourite, but it's nice to see new people in the semi-finals. I mean, our athlete from Chinese Taipei getting into the semi-final, really close on boulder 1. Would have got boulder 3. You should realise how close to time she was. So it's good to see new countries getting into semi-final. Favourites, a lot of them were dropping out yesterday. I mean, it's a big shock to see the likes of Sean McCall and the Keon Noguchi not making it into semis. But we've still got some of the top guys there, so it's going to be hard.
Thanks, Graham.
Great insight there from Graham, and as we saw in the background whilst those guys were chatting about that, Rei Sugimoto sets the bar really high here in semi-finals with 3 tops. He's put himself in a fantastic position for finals, and Rei's a great guy to watch. I really hope he can stick it out. The later climbers we'll see, but it was awesome. If we have a look, you see men's 4 in the background. That's the one that Rei did, and this is David Fierenberg, men's number 3, finds the top, and I've seen a few tops in now. So it's getting, it's still early, but we can start to have a little think about how many tops it's going to take. Get in touch. How many guys do you think at home? What's it going to take to get through to finals? Hashtag IFSCWC. We'd love to hear from you. Get another look. That's the method there on women's 3, flying out, and so many holds on that holder, like Charlie said. We have a look back on the slab in women's number 2, Katja Kadik. Really not finding the balance point. We've seen that a lot recently on the last few athletes on that boulder. Really just got to stay relaxed. Back in men's number 1, Maichi Narasaki, Tomoa's younger brother. Obviously it runs in the family, but he's really struggling with the method on this. I do wonder if his younger age is slightly less experienced than his brother. Obviously Team Japan's super strong, so we'll see how he gets on that. But right now, Mai Kotaki, also from Team Japan, out on women's number 1, so it's our first look at one of the Japanese athletes in women's number 1, but not happy under there at all. Back with Katja. Again, exactly the same. That was almost an instant replay of her go before. I think women's number 2, you have to be so relaxed just to slowly work your way up that slab and stay right in the middle of the wall. No movement left to right, standing up first and then just finding the balance point. We've only 38 seconds left on this rotation. It's really close. Oh. Maichi just having another hard fall there. He's getting absolutely brutalized on his competition start here in the World Cup, and he is choosing to start facing out, and the route says believe that kind of really doesn't help you, even though it seems logical to start, but doesn't help you on the next move. So no top so far for Maichi Narasaki. Walks off the stage, unhappy with his start, but we'll see him. Plenty of time still to come. Obviously Rei was 3 tops in 7 attempts. Gabriella Moroni's behind him with 2 tops in 7 attempts also. So yeah, so far 2 tops. It's looking like a good score. And as we end of this rotation, we are back with Charlie Bosco down at the wall.
Yeah, and I'm here with Eddie, who we spoke to at the top of the programme. Eddie, you've been really impressed with Rei Sugimoto.
Yeah, it's a fantastic comeback from Rei. A lot of you will remember back in Grindelwald in 2014 when Rei did one of the great tops of IFSC World Cup history. It was up the top for an age, reaching.
That was a viral YouTube video.
That was a viral YouTube video. In that same competition, in the semi-finals, Rei actually hurt his shoulder and he was climbing injured. And the next year he tried to rehabilitate his shoulder naturally and it just wasn't coming good. 2016 he did a couple of competitions. He did Meiringen, I believe he did Innsbruck, and he just made the call that his shoulder was no good. So he actually had surgery and had his shoulder fixed. And now he had to come back, re-qualify into the team, which is incredibly hard in Japan, and he's just come out with 3 tops. So it's a fantastic comeback from the Japanese legend.
Just a quick aside, she came out on women's 2, got a climber you know well, Chloe Collier.
Yeah, love it a bit. She's a fantastic young climber from Belgium, one of her real talents. She did Problem 1 recently, just an awesome style, ended up sitting on the blue hold over the lip, which was great to see. And she is one of those that really has progressed as a climber. It's really hard to actually step from junior ranks into seniors. I know we see all these juniors and think, wow, it's a piece of cake, but there is a ton of juniors and only a very few make this step. And yeah, Chloe, especially coming from such a flat country, a country without a big climbing heritage, they've had some great boulderers in the past. They've been few and far between, and Chloe will be the next one.
Keep an eye on Chloe Collier. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. Chloe Collier definitely one to watch. She made finals in Japan last year and came 8th in Chongqing. So, yeah, Chloe's definitely one to watch out for. But the field is, as we keep saying, is so stacked here. And joining us as we look, Sol Sa from Korea on women's number 3. Yeah, that's a really quite a cool move there. You'll see hopefully later on when they fly to that left hand, the left foot has to kick out the wall to control themselves as they make their way back right. This is another look at Chloe Collier back on the women's number 2, and this is where the point when they really have to stand up super controlled, super slow. If you try and fire up and find the compression, it's not going to work. In the right hand side of the screen you can see Yoshiyuki Ogata, who had a really good first attempt. But we're talking about the strength of the field, and we have the French national champion out, Fanny Gibert, starting her campaign on women's number 1. She's not found a top yet, and we'll see plenty of that of her later on, no doubt, as we concentrate on the other boulders. Martin Stronick there, not happy with men's number 3. Really technical tour here for the men. You know, men's number 1 is a jump, which is obviously just plain hard, plus this men's number 2. The sequences make it technical as well as it being really hard, and then they have a slab and then a step slab, so really technical climbers may do well here in the men's semi-final. Time will tell, but lots of these climbers have all the tricks in the book. As we look back at Yoshiyuki Ogata, this is where he was before, but wasn't able to match his fellow Japanese athlete Rei Sugimoto's efforts on that boulder, and we're seeing most climbers now really getting to that stage, matching that sloper, but not quite sticking the finish hold. And it's like, it looks like it's just one move to finish, but I think realistically there's a lot going on in that last move. It's almost 2 moves, hitting the hold and then swinging the book, and then working on the match, which with that hold is not easy, as we see Megan Mascarenhas on women's 4 really struggling with this jump. We've not really seen anybody stick that jump, and in the background, Sol Sa, oh yeah, didn't need the left foot out, that was really impressive. Managed to hit the double catch. Come on, Sol Sa. Come on. Looking really good here.
And I'm back up in the commentary box. That was I was down in the bullpen, right at the front. All got a bit crowded, so I've headed upstairs for a better view. Really interesting insight there from a couple of people. Always good to hear from Graham Alderson and Eddie, but also the route setters. Lauren Laporte's done a great job so far. While I was walking up here, Mike, we haven't seen the top yet on women's 3 and 4. No. Still? Okay.
Yeah, I do believe Sol Sa may have just topped that. We're just looking at a different screen there at the time, so we'll just check the scores to see if Sol found the top on women's 3. That would be really cool. She did, and like you say, yeah, she topped that in 4 attempts. So yeah, the first top of women's number 3, but women's 4 definitely holding everybody up as it stands. No top for Megan Mascarenhas as we move on to the next rotation. And a great replay there Oh, just didn't quite manage to control it enough to get the match there. Yoshiyuki Okata. But we will see another member of Team Japan joining us in the men's with Kaita Watabe. He'll be coming out. And in the women's, another French lady, Manon Hilly.
It's all Japan on the right-hand side of the wall, 3 Japanese climbers. Just one French athlete you see there. It's really interesting down the front of the wall, actually. You get a completely different perspective. I mean, it's really the perspective we see on the cameras, but when you're live, it's you really see a bit like on Rei Sakamoto's. Was it Rei Sakamoto with the big move on men's 2? When you see it close up, it is absolutely extraordinary. So if there's ever a World Cup in a town near you, I recommend going and getting there as early as you can.
Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. And just the atmosphere here in Meiringen is superb. Just the kind of the locals come out in force for this. You know, they have to pay to be in here, but there's the bar, there's the food and everything, and there's great lighting, great music, and it's going to be a great show. And really looking forward to finals later on tonight as well.
Yeah, good news. Speaking of the food, as I walk past the catering, there's a superb smell coming up. So everyone in the venue's in for a treat after the semi-final.
Absolutely. So Manon Hilly for France, making good progress here. One of the first climbers we've seen to manage to get a heel hook with the left foot there rather than a toe. So, I mean, that's really good. If she can make that work for her, that will really help, as opposed to a toe there. A lot more power can go through the hill. Oh, she finds the top. Nicely done. Great start there from the French athlete. As we look at Fierenberg from Germany, also gets a top. So this is where the competition's really starting to hot up now. Climbers coming out later on, getting towards the top end of the competitors, and we're starting to see more tops.
It'd be really interesting to see Manon in action today. Not been in a Boulder World Cup before. To a semi-final here in Meiringen.
It's just another one of those athletes, and there's so many in this semi-final who we've not seen that much of before, and this is the first event of the season. To see new faces is super cool, and it makes it really hard to predict who could potentially get through to the finals.
Well, she hails from Aix-en-Provence, which if you know anything about French sport climbing, it's not a bad place to come from if you want to get into rock climbing. Shall I put my neck on the line and say the best sport climbing area in the world?
Well, you know, that's a long discussion we'd have to have there.
I think if you take into account quality of cheese, wine and après climbing, then it definitely wins hands down.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I don't know, I quite like the chorizo sausage myself, so Spain's where it's at for me. Obviously not to mention God's Own Rock in Britain on the Gritstone, but you know, like I say, that is a very long conversation, but it's all about the indoor qualifiers here in the semi-finals, and a great show so far. We're starting to see quite a few more tops, and I think it's going to be really interesting to start making some predictions as to how many tops it's going to take to get through. And we've just seen on the left-hand side of the screen the Swiss athlete, one of the first girls to stick this first move. And a really cool move there. Oh, fantastic move. They were describing that earlier. It's such a cool move. In the route setting world, we'd say that La Rose is described as, which is named after a famous move outside. Andrew Cumin then hopefully will have an opportunity to stick with this and have another look. There's so much going on here as we move back to women's number 2. But as I was saying, yeah, we'll see plenty of that move later on. So Maichi moves on to men's number 2, and we get a great view there of this pocket move, Charlie. I don't know about you, but that looks so grim.
Yeah, it's really interesting boulder, this. The cheer from the crowd when that move first got figured out was amazing. But yeah, really interesting to see Tomoa's younger brother here. Quite a different build. It's quite a comedy moment, actually. I ran into the two of them, the Narisaki brothers, in Meiringen on Wednesday, and Tomoa said, "This is my smaller brother," and obviously his brother's about 8 inches taller than him.
So as we have a look then at women's number 4, it's a very similar move here because she didn't go for the cross through. She's having to get a match, and we've seen this in the men's, but the crowd's right behind her. Come on. So she's really fighting here. Come on now, Andrea Cumin. Come on, come on. Oh. It's definitely not over when you get to that bonus. It's a hard move in the crowd. gives her a well-deserved round of applause.
Yeah, the crowd, of course, all pretty keen to see Petra Klingler. Don't forget, she'll be out fourth to last in today's semi-final. Won the World Championships. Anybody who watched it will remember where she found the toe hook. You know the bit I mean. Big smile on her face. Petra Klingler, World Champion. She will be out in about 15 minutes' time.
So joining the competition then, we'll come back to that in 1 second. We just have a quick look at the scores. Solsar leading the pack with 2 tops and 7. Andrea Kumin, who we've just been talking about, 1 top, and lots of girls with 1 top after her. So Solsar currently looking good, and she's on her last boulder, so we'll see where we stand after that. And Rei Sugimoto, Team Japan, made a really good start to the competition here, 3 tops and 7 attempts, so you would think that Rei has possibly done enough, but there's a lot still to come. As we said then, Michaela Tracy starts her competition, and Michael Mauin from France. So we have a look at women's number 2. Fanny Gibert, like I said, the French national champion, and it's our first look at the Brit. Michaela Tracy, incredible qualifying result for her to come out 14th. It's brilliant.
Yeah, Fanny was climbing really well in the qualifiers yesterday. I mentioned it in the highlights if you watched them. She was 7th here in Meiringen last year. She was actually joined me on the live stream. But I have a sneaky feeling she can go one better.
Chloe Collier then really close to her top here. She's figured the final bit of toe hook, heel hook beta, sorry. Can she finish it off? Oh, what a view, come on. Just one hand on, she needs 2.
Eddie just talking about what amazing climber she is.
Oh no!
And that's a heartbreaker.
God, that's so hard to watch. That was a slow death.
Let's just have another look.
Just releasing that hill just gave her such momentum that she just couldn't get under control and slipped out of there. That was a real heartbreaker.
It's amazing how many emotions you can feel in about 2 seconds of watching climbing. You went from, she's got it, no she hasn't, yes she has, no she hasn't, yes she has, oh. Yeah, in the space of a second and a half. But I was just saying about Fanny Gibert, yeah, I've got a sneaking suspicion she could do quite well this season. She's an athlete to keep an eye on. I know a few people have been saying that for a while, but yeah, thought looked nice and in control and in really good climbing shape yesterday in qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's kind of one of those athletes who's the talk of the town here in Meiringen. But as we have a look at Michaela Tracy, looks like she's going to find a top. Come on, Michaela, this would be a perfect start. Nicely done. Michaela will definitely be showing her emotion through the competition, and there we see it. Fantastic to watch from Team GB. Michaela Tracy finds a top. Great start for her.
And that's Fanny Gibert topping out on women's 2.
Like I said earlier, we're starting to see a lot more tops now, so a fantastic round for viewing here in Meiringen. It's exactly what we wanted to see. Everybody at home, some great climbing on, some amazing performances on show. As we see here, talking about amazing performances, to stick the move on women's number 4 is totally crazy. What a move later on in the competition. I'm sure we'll see a few of the athletes getting that done, but just to see that move is so cool. As we have a look at another really cool move. I'm not sure if it's cool or just really grim, because it looks like he's going for the mono match. One finger, he's fought better against that before his tendons explode. As he works towards this next sloper, which is huge hole, but it's so bad inside. Come on, Yoshiyuki, come on. Really needs to be in the bottom of that hold, and we have seen that done. So it's really getting interesting here, Charlie.
Yeah, it's beginning to hot up. Don't forget the climbers come out in reverse order of how they qualified, so theoretically the favourites come out last, so we would expect the pattern to be more and more tops, but they always seem to come quite quickly. You always go from hardly any to the cameraman can barely keep up in the space of about 10 minutes. It seems to be proving again today. So here's Chloe Collier, the move that she nearly stuck the last time, and she isn't quite as close this time. So she's touched that top hold on 2 attempts. Let's have another look.
It's really hard to see someone get so close and not be able to repeat it, and that's something they'll be reflecting on later. If that was the difference between not making finals or making finals, it's a real heartbreaker to have the finish hold in your hand. And that's competition climbing, though, with such a stacked field. That's the way it is. It comes down to those minute details in those tops and attempts.
So 20 seconds left on this rotation. Haven't seen much of Mikael Marwem on men's 1 just yet. He's over on the right. He'll be followed out by Yene Kruder, and in the women's competition we'll be seeing Stasha Geho women's 1, she also looked really impressive in qualifiers. And there's a lot of people quite excited to see her climb. And I was just about to correct myself and wonder if I was slightly losing my mind, because Stasha ran out, turned right out of the door, ran all the way to the far end of the mats, and then realised that women's 1 is at the other end, so she ran all the way back across the mats.
I think she was going for a little warm-up jog just to start the competition.
Yeah, I was just beginning to wonder if I'd lost my mind, but no, it was Stasha. But no, she looks really in control. I had a good chat with her on Thursday night when she first arrived here. She seems relaxed but focused, which is always a good place to be mentally. She's a climber, I think, with a pretty good chance of making the finals. Keep an eye on the scores there, top of your screen. Women on top, men underneath. And this is also our first look at the day at Ine Kruder.
It's great to hear from you guys on the hashtag IFSCWC. We've got a question coming in from John Bergman about how long it sets to take a boulder in the route, and hopefully we'll see later on, but there's a great video from Laurent Laporte on the IFSC YouTube channel, and he describes how long they've been here. So it's a team of 4 route setters, I believe, Charlie, who've been here since Sunday setting this competition. So yeah, a long time, and he said that they play with the climbers a lot, which means they climb the boulders a lot. So it could be realistically many hours to set one boulder just to get the level perfect. Just as we have a look at Stasha, great work from her on women's 1, perfect start to the competition.
Yes, not often I get my predictions right, but so I'm pleased to get off to a flying start. Hope she continues that form. Yeah, but just going back to what you were saying about the route setters, the video we showed at the top of the show while I was chatting to Eddie on the stage of Laurent Laporte. It's a great video, but he's such a modest guy, Laurent. He's such a relaxed character. He was saying, we play with the moves a lot. It's perhaps underselling their skill and hard work a bit. They do play, and Laurent does seem to always create quite a fun atmosphere, but it's a lot of hard work as well. There's a lot of pure grunt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely such a hard game, and the competitions completely rely 100% on the route setters. As we see very close to us top then, Mai Kotaki, can she finish it off? We saw Chloe finding this heel hook, but it's all about the release for the next move. Come on.
Yeah, but this is a different technique. May's going with the left hand, Chloe went with the right, and I have to say this looks more promising to me.
Nicely done.
And it's successful.
What's really interesting there, Charlie, she didn't have to release the left heel as Chloe did to match the last hold, so maybe we could argue that the taller girls might find a slight advantage there by not having to release the heel, but to be honest, like you said earlier, so many holds on that boulder, it's really hard to tell what's the method and what's not. But that is definitely one of the ways the route setters were describing it. Hitting that hold and flying out to the left hand, super cool move.
Yeah, just remember the black tape, if there is any on a boulder, that marks the legal edge of the boulder. So if you touch the far side of the black tape, your attempt is not valid. But that women's 3, we saw May's leg swing out left, but there's no black tape, so she's entitled to use pretty much anything she can reach as long as she gets to the top hold. Just checking while our scores update, there was a second top of that women's 3. As I say, when I was down there at the front, by my count, 23 holds on it, immensely complicated. But we are starting to see some tops. You're always worried when you have something really complicated like that no one's going to figure it out. But the route setter seems to have judged that one pretty well.
One thing, a bit of insider knowledge from the route setting point of view, there's 23 holds on there, but the route setters need to keep to a limit of the number of moves on a boulder, which I do believe is 12. I have to check my rule book, but the last thing I heard, it was a maximum of 12 move constitutes a boulder problem, and after that we're heading into routes apparently, so 12 moves and such a large number of holds. Obviously there's so many options up there that the route setters will keep it in the legal limit, and I saw them yesterday just counting some of the moves, just making sure that they are in that limit, because the team managers will definitely pick up on that if there's an illegal boulder.
I just saw Ine Kruder there, not quite got men's 1, just like a million miles away. He's his usual relaxed self in here, Meiringen. Skateboarders here as ever. Seems to skateboards are quite heavy. I don't quite know how he gets into China. Maybe he doesn't take many socks, but he's a pretty relaxed guy. Frustration showing there.
Katja Kadek then having a look at a slightly different method on women's 3, going for the double to the kind of jug, but I don't think that's going to work for her, to be honest. As we look at the French athlete, Manon Hilly, and another member of Team Japan. We definitely can't get away from Team Japan. There's so many of them out there. Keita Watabe, so strong. Team Japan, it's absolutely awesome. Again, another athlete struggling on the last half of that boulder. And what's interesting, Charlie, is after Rei Sakamoto, we've not really seen any action on men's number 1, but the next guy out, Jungwon Chung, could potentially change that as we are into the real top end of the competition now, and some incredible athletes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were really impressed with him yesterday. Also looked good at the quiff. Eddie mentioned it at the top of the programme where him and I were on the stage. Jungwon's been out in Europe for, I guess it must be over a month now, preparing for this. He's not just screeched up to the first World Cup of the year. He's prepared to try and hit peak form as he arrives, which possibly you could say Tomoa Narasaki didn't do. Remember, he was 21st in the qualifiers yesterday. He's not in today's semi-final, but turned up in Europe, I believe, at the start of the week, whereas Jungwon has been here at least a month. And we would seem, from what little we've seen of both the athletes, we only really seen them yesterday, that seems to be paying dividends for Jungwon.
Yeah, I was there in Sheffield and he put on a great show. He just really dangerously strong. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him again. It'll be a strong bet to go against him here to make finals. I really do hope he makes it, and he looks in incredible form.
Yeah, the media team made that event for me though, Mike.
Here we go, Fanny Gibert then on women's 3. That's interesting to see her falling there. We've seen her top on that just recently. Going for the double mono match and sticks with the mono there. That is incredible tendon power. Quite hard to watch, to be honest with you, but Mikael Mauem then fighting at the end of this boulder. Come on. No, again.
Just interesting why we've got all the climbers relatively low on the wall. I've got a question from Philip Mitter-Ur. Apologies for the pronunciation, as ever. He's got a question on Twitter. Social Media Joe sent it through to me with ha at the start because he thinks this might embarrass me. Did or do the commentators climb themselves, and at what level?
Well, to be honest, the reason I'm here in commentary is because I didn't want to embarrass the athletes by entering. It was absolutely, chances are we would have both taken away a podium.
Yeah, well, I nailed women's 3 when I had a quick go before the live started.
Yeah. I turned them in my trainers, and they were wet at the time. I'd just been through a puddle, absolute breeze. But in all seriousness, obviously, we both climb. I'm a professional route setter myself, so hopefully I can give you guys some insight. And I guess we've both been in the game long enough to know what's what, and hopefully we can bring that to you guys at home.
It's a very modest answer from Mike. Mike's climbed things with an 8 at the start of them, which I can only climb with a Jumar and a fixed rope. I used to, still climb a lot. I used to be pretty much a climbing bum, but I was more of an alpine climbing bum actually. So I've got, unfortunately, heavy legs and weak arms, which is not a great combination for rock climbing. So I'm a very enthusiastic rock climber and I climb a lot, but perhaps slightly below the level of a World Cup climber, I think it'd be fair to say, but I'm a very enthusiastic climber.
Just as we saw then, Kata Sarvine made a great start to women's 1. She looked really strong and she did a great qualifying yesterday as well. As we turn our attention to Michaela Tracy, she obviously also had a really good start and she's good on the slab, so come on Michaela, she's really fighting at the top here. We have seen a few tops on this women's number 2, so hopefully Michaela can make it 2 tops, a perfect start to her tour, and we might see some emotion here if she gets this top. Come on, Michaela. Yes, nicely done.
So Michaela, the first of the female climbers to top both of the first 2 boulders, and she looks pretty happy. Generally, Michaela Tracy, you can tell what sort of mood she's in, whether it's good or bad, and it's nice to see her smiling.
Sometimes you don't want to be in the front row when Michaela comes off if she's not done the boulder. Chalk bag takes a bit of a journey, but passion is what it's all about to make you so good at these competitions, and we love to see it, really.
Yeah, I saw the iceberg though, that's why I came up to the commentary box. As soon as I saw Michaela's name getting closer and closer. Don't want to get hit by a shoe or anything, but no need to throw anything so far. Takes the lead.
Yeah, great start from Michaela. She's going to be super happy with that, but we have still got some very strong climbers coming out in the women's, just as we have a look at Mikael Mauem. It seems really interesting. The climbers really struggling to go rightwards on the feet here. We've got to get right underneath that slope. And obviously, a huge slope like that, the more you hang underneath it, the better it's going to become. And like we said before, Jan Hoyer tried that method going up with the right hand, and Marcin, the route setter, says he doesn't think that's going to work for you. With 15 seconds left of this rotation, I don't think we're going to see any more tops realistically.
Just looking, Chloe Collier, you can see her on the left there. She's the only athlete still on the stage. Still attempting a boulder, I should say. No.
Yeah, I mean, she was on boulder number 4. That's the end of the competition for her. She might as well give it everything, get some extra training miles in on the last boulder. But a great effort from Chloe.
Yeah, one top from her and a bonus. Won't be enough to make the final. Already down in 10th, Chloe, and you suspect that will she might head a bit further down the order. But if you heard a big cheer there, it's because the world champion Petra Klingler is out. As the scores on your screen, Michaela Tracy, she's only attempted 2 boulders, but she's topped them both, and that's enough for an early lead. Rei Sugimoto taking the place of Tomoe Narasaki, it would seem, for this event at least, as the leading Japanese climber so far.
A great result from David Fierenberg there as well, to currently sitting in second. Obviously, like I say, we've got a few people still to come out. Obviously, a lot of competition still to go here. But 2 tops in the semi-final in the World Cup, that's pretty awesome. But like I say, the crowd's definitely on their feet now because the world champion out, the local girl Petra Klingler. To be honest, I'm getting quite nervous now. It's getting really, really tense, really exciting as we have another look at Stasha Geho, women's number 2. She obviously cruised women's number 1 as well, so can she follow Michaela's footsteps and get 2 tops? But realistically, I think, Charlie, it's going to come down to women's 3 and especially women's 4. I think we're going to see plenty of tops now on the first 2, but 3 and 4 is going to what's going to take to get into the finals, I think.
Let's have another look at Stasha. So that's the move. I was chatting to Manu, one of our route setting team earlier, talking about women's 2, and that is Olivier. So that's Petra Klingler there, she is topping out. I was just saying about women's 2, yeah, route setter Olivier. Sorry, I got my route setters mixed up. It's like a French mafia in the route setting team. He was saying that is the crux move on that women's 2. Getting to the bonus is hard, but staying there is even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard here in Meiringen, but we are starting to see tops, which is great. Crowd loves to see some tops. Don't want to see 8 climbers standing on the mats, and it looks like the route setters put on a great show so far. We really do hope that continues throughout the weekend, and it definitely was here yesterday as well. Some brilliant boulders and some great show.
Just quickly, while we've got all the climbers relatively low down, we will break off if we see someone heading close to a top. But we've got a question from Blobby Bob. That's a great Twitter handle. But he was chuffed when he realised that was still available. Wants to know, how has this route setting style changed over the years? Mike, you've been a head setter, you've been a setter at the castle for what, 10, 12 years?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and it's a real kind of ongoing topic about styles changing here and there. But I think these days, I mean, what you're seeing here is a lot more volumes, which you call a lot more large features on the wall, a lot of 3D climbing. But the main theme is, and the one that we've not seen so far in this competition, we may see it in the finals, but it's more the running jumps and the real low percentage moves. We've not seen any of that this weekend so far, but the style of a lot of jumps, a lot of powerful climbing is definitely there. But the route setters know all the tricks in the book, and they will be putting a bit of everything, a lot of old school styles in there as well. The wall here has quite a few slabs, so it's not just about flinging around and running and jumps, but I mean, if you were to say how the styles change, I would say in the recent years that's definitely become a theme, and the rules for running jumps itself has even had to change to accommodate that style. We could talk about this all day, but I hope that answers your question. I think there is a mixed bag still. As we go back to the competition, looks like Stasha's looking really good for a top and wins number 2.
No problem.
Just going back to that question, Charlie, I think one of the main things that's so important now is the show. The route setters don't only want to get a great result, but they want to put on a really good show for everybody at home and everybody in the arena. And so moves like we're seeing on men's number 2, women's number 4, really crazy moves, and that's what we want to see. It's not just nailing up a wall. We probably could get a result if it was like that, but nobody wants to sit here for 2 hours watching men and women just crimping down and not making much progress. We want to see fireworks and action and frills and spills and a lot of falls, and that's what you get with that style, so that's why it's become popular.
It's really, I always think of it, the goal of the route setter is to make the best climber win, not the strongest, and we're seeing that more and more. And you really understand the level if you ever come to a World Cup, and get as close as you can to the boulders. And I have to say, often when the competitions finish, I go and have a little go on the boulders. And I remember there was one, I think it was in Chongqing last year, where I could get off the floor, and that made my year. I'm still living off the glory of the fact I could get off the floor. It's to the recreational, keen, but perhaps slightly too fat climber like me. The level is absolutely extraordinary in these boulders, regardless of the style, and this volume and dynamic style just makes that even more pronounced, as we see under the top.
Yeah, great top there by Keita Watabe. Team Japan looking strong as always, and he'll be happy with that. We've seen a few tops now on men's free. We did suggest from the route setter that was one of the easier in the tour for the men's, and we start a new rotation. Out in the men's, Alexei Rubtsov, and in the women's, I do believe it's Miho Nanaka. So the competition really hotting up here now. Favourites for the competition are, some of the favourites are out and amongst it.
Yeah, because Alexei won here last year in the men's. Ended up in 3rd overall for 2016 World Cups. Miho was 2nd overall in the World Cup. So really, really getting towards the business end of this semi-final. Only 2 climbers, both the men's and women's competition, still to come after Alexei and Miho.
We've got a close-up here of Jongwon Chong on this pocket for you guys at home. You can start to see how bad these holds are. The top of that hold is completely shiny plastic. We say it's a jewel texture, which means you're not going to get anything out of it. So you've got to swap in that pocket, you've got to fight. And Jongwon Chong is definitely doing that. Look how solid this guy is in the shoulders.
It was really neatly done, actually. Just as he repositioned his left hand, he just uses his right. It's close. Just used his right to palm off the shiny side of the hole, because much as you can't get much grip out of it, as long as you're leaning directly against it with your palm, you can use it. And it was clever use of it from Jongwon there to get the most out of a dual texture like that.
Just have a look at Miho Nanaka, 2nd in the world currently, and just as we have a look at the top there, fantastic. She's off to a great start, and if we have a look at her results from last year, frankly it's ridiculous. In order, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 1st and 2nd. So Miho Nanaka is so strong and so consistent. So we have a look back at Ogata from Team Japan, and another top. Oh, that was the top on men's 4. That's interesting actually. That's going to go a long way.
Alexei's been training recently with Rustam Gelmanov and Alex Kazanov, I believe here in Switzerland. To check social media again, but I saw the 3 of them training a lot together. And, very, very focused. It was quite interesting actually. I was chatting to Alex Kazanov yesterday, and he was saying Alexei is the most friendly, relaxed guy in the world.
Yeah.
And then you arrive at a competition and it's like a wall goes down, even to his friends. He's just focused.
Yeah, I think that's what it takes from some athletes, though. The psychology is really interesting between them. There's how they can switch it on and off between rounds, and between being in the hotel, eating breakfast, to coming here and fighting for your life at the first World Cup. The psychology of climbing competition is really interesting, something I'm personally very interested in. I think it's really cool to see how everyone deals with it. And we have a look at the French champion currently, Fanny Gibert, on this move. Really cool move, swing the leg across, or just go for the campers and just cut under. Oh, what a move. I'm really looking forward to seeing someone like Shauna later on, who did a move very similar to that. I believe it was in China last year, just complete one-arm pull-up through, and just the level in the women's is immensely strong, and the boulders are so hard.
If she only just stuck the move before that, it just goes to show, if you get one move, you might get the next one, so just keep ploughing on.
And I think looking at the men's results, Rei Sugimoto is the only climber currently to top men's #1. So if anybody does men's #1, that's going to put them into a really good position potentially for the rest of the boulders. As we have another look at Kata Sarwine on women's #2.
Katja, of course, perhaps the definition of an all-round climber. That's how I describe myself, to excuse myself from being good at any of them, but Katja's good at all of them. She's a true all-rounder. She was in Yosemite in the autumn. She can trad climb, she can sport climb, she can boulder. She's a true rock climbing all-rounder, and had a very, very good day in the qualifiers yesterday.
Oh, this could be our first top then, Charlie. Women's #4, Fanny Gibert. She does it. goes against the method that the route setters prescribed, matches up in the two-finger pocket, very similar to men's number 2, the exact same hold, and that puts Fanny in a great position. Hopefully we'll have a look at the scores, we'll see where that puts her. We've got to wait for our scores to update, but Fanny Gibert showing that women's number 4 is most definitely possible. And yeah, after she got this match, to be honest, she kind of cruised it, and it's definitely really, really hard after this pocket. You can see some of the route setters might describe this word in English, would say it's very dirty. It's a very dirty move. It's matching on pockets like that is not potentially a favourite move for the climbers, but it's yeah, you know, obviously they wanted to get the swing through there, but they did mention that as a method. The match seems to be a style here today, the pocket match.
Now, very interesting. Janja Garnbret is out on women's 1. She just about made it, stumbled on the mat as she headed over to hand her scorecard in, but she dominated, well, everything last year, particularly in the lead climbing, though. Overall lead champion last year, world champion, world youth champion. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but you get the gist. Certainly fascinating to see how she gets on in the bouldering. Also chatted to her earlier this week, and bouldering is a big focus for her this year. She would like to move up the bouldering rankings. I mean, she's already youth world champion in bouldering, but by her standards, that's not enough.
Maybe you know, with the Olympics on the horizon, she's going to be one of these athletes who's taking that on as a challenge and looking at lead speed and boulder straight away. You know, no messing around, just get really good at all of them instantly. And you know, she's obviously no slouch in bouldering, being the lead world champion. Also, she's an incredible athlete.
I don't have the stat in front of me, so I'm sure somebody can remind me, but I'm sure she got to her 7th IFSC World Cup in all disciplines before she wasn't on the podium. You can correct me, Mike. It's an incredible statistic. Anyway, she fired out the blocks last year and pretty much maintained momentum, and she's looking to do the same again. And I was about to say a top from Sergei Topisko. He's another climber it'd be interesting to watch. We've seen him in semi-finals and stuff before, but there were eyebrows raised when he came through in 2nd. You didn't see it there, but Stasha's just got another top on women's 3.
Yeah, that will put her 3 tops in 5 attempts, so she's currently sitting pretty in 1st position. So yeah, I think it's hard to say at this early stage. 2 tops is currently enough to get you into the top 6, but later on I think it's going to be 3 with women's numbers 1 and 2 looking like they're getting done. But having said that, as we look at women's number 2, Petra Klinger, the world champion, not looking too comfortable on women's number 2 at the moment, but as we say that, she is chalking up and making progress. But yeah, we've seen women's 2 get done a number of times now in number 1. So 3 tops is currently where it stands to be in 1st position, and Stasha takes that position.
It's quite interesting actually here, Mike. We see Petra heading to the top of this slab, and the crowd are actually surprisingly quiet. And I have to say, from having been underneath that slab half an hour ago, you don't want to speak, you don't want to cheer, because the climbers are so imbalanced. It's so close. I think the crowd are just keeping quiet so they don't disturb her, but she's off anyway. Plenty of time though, 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. We see, I think that was a top from Sergei, bottom right of your screen, and a top from Janja.
Yeah, that's a really interesting start for Sergei in the men's, because that's only the 2nd climber to top men's number 1, and to be honest, he absolutely obliterated it. He looked really, really strong, and it's another look at Stasha. You can't see, but off screen, I think it's her coach who's going absolutely wild in the crowd, jumping up and down. So, you know, Stasha looks really in really good form.
See a relatively empty wall. That's a symptom of having the higher ranked climbers out, getting lots of early tops. Yanae Kruder's actually just on stage as we speak, just chatting to the judges. I don't think it's a problem, just clarifying. So we'll just have another look at Petra. She makes her way up women's 2.
Just as we're looking at Petra, then what's interesting, Charlie, is I don't believe Janja Garnbret found a top on women's number 1, so you know, that's a bit of a turn up the books potentially. Maybe she did. We have to just double check the scores. Yeah, with so many climbers on the wall here at once, and we do have a technical situation in men's number 3. The route setters just paying attention to a couple of the holes, so we'll keep you up to date on that.
Now, just to go back, Mike, was the top from Janja on women's 1, 2nd attempt.
Yeah, I was going to be surprised if she didn't find the top there. You know, I thought that would be a really, really bad start for the competition from her, but yeah, make no mistake, Janja does not find tops.
So, I'm about to see another top on women's 4, just correcting the hands. Suddenly that looks a long reach.
Yeah, Fanny Gibert made that look all right, but you can see there it's so hard. But Petra Klinger struggling here on the slab. This is really interesting.
Just to clarify, I mentioned earlier about the judges and Yene Kruder were just discussing something. I believe there was a loose hold. Manu, one of our route setters, was just up on a step ladder, sticking a couple of extra self-tapping screws into the wall. And we're back on course, so I suspect there was some slight movement in one of the volumes. We will find out if see if our technical delegate Graham Alderson or any of the other officials come up near our box. We'll rugby tackle them and find out.
I think it works. That was almost the perfect timing to have a slightly technical situation there, because it was between climbers. So hopefully, the route setters no problem. They've just jumped in there, smashed a couple of extra screws in, and we're back on with the next rotation, which is current World Cup overall champion Shauna Coxey and Kokoro Fuji.
Yeah, Kokoro, he was so close to winning the overall. It was a couple of boulders either way, and it could have been the two World Cup champions from last year out at the same time, Shauna Coxey and Kokoro Fuji. But as it is, he's last year's winner in the women's and last year's runner-up in the men's. So these are our last climbers. There's no more to come after Shauna and Kokoro.
So if we just have a look at Shauna Coxey, then obviously she did not perform in the Paris World Championships. We did not see her. So Munich last year was the last time we saw her, and she completely dominated the end of 2015, 2016. 5 wins in a row, 2 second places. Then she received a pretty serious shoulder injury, and she's had surgery on that and has been rehabilitating ever since Munich. So it's going to be really interesting to see Shauna, and she was really on form yesterday. There was no side effects of that shoulder surgery. She was back in the game for sure.
Yeah, it was my sort of rehab, actually. I saw on social media that she did some of her rehab in California.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Yeah. Break from the English winter. And she's making good progress so far, as is Kokoro. So remember, both these athletes topped the qualifying yesterday. The climbers come out in reverse order in the semi-finals. So these two athletes on screen now, Shauna Coxey on the left, Kokoro Fuji on the right. They were top in the qualifiers. First place.
I wonder what it's like for these guys to come out last. They've been in the isolation room the longest. The conditions and the holds may have got worse, but Shauna Coxey making no mistakes, cruising the first boulder. Just going back to what I was saying, just maybe the psychological pressure of being in the isolation zone there. Wonder what that does to the climbers. As we see another top, Katarina Zawajn on women's number 3.
It didn't look the most comfortable top, that, just sort of reaching through, requiring a lot of body tension. That right shoulder probably working quite hard. So gets the job done.
Yeah, nicely done. And we're seeing another climber struggle, Miho on women's number 2. Some of the climbers, maybe it's due to the technical nature of this boulder, but some of the girls really not having too many issues on women's number 2, and some not happy up there at all.
It's just so hard to keep your bum in close to the wall without wanting to put it too bluntly.
Yeah, I think.
But Miho, not too far off. That move to the bonus, if she sticks that, she won't be far off.
As you can see there, there's little orange footholds. On the Twitter earlier, asking about the styles of climbing, and one thing that's really come into route setting is these what we call dual texture holds, and there's plenty of them here. It's a great way of getting the climbers to stand exactly where you want them to stand. A lot of the times with bigger holds you can stand all over the hold and down the back of the hold, but these you can see a brighter orange ring there. That is where there's absolutely no texture at all. So the dual textures really come into the game in route setting, and it makes it really, really hard for the climbers.
Just in time to see Alexei Rubtsov top men's 2. As I say, reigning champion from here in Meiringen in 2016. Very focused, looking very strong, climbed superbly yesterday. Take a brave person to bet against him, retaining that crown. Michaela Tracy's out onto women's 4.
Yeah, Michaela is currently sitting in third position with 2 tops in 4 attempts, 3 bonuses in 7. So if she can find another top here, she would put herself around second place as it stands at the moment. As we go back to men's number 1, Kokoro Fuji, really good attempts earlier. Let's see if he can find a top. Oh no, interesting there. The other guys actually matched that sloper before heading to the finish hold, and he's really hanging underneath that sloper, which is good to hold on to it, but doesn't really help for the next move. And it's very easy for us to say that sitting here, but yeah, no top so far in men's number 1. And Sergei Chubishko earlier, just the way he smashed that boulder was really impressive. like we may have a top for Miho. Struggling on this boulder, but fighting hard. Come on. Great close up there. Oh.
Just about found a position that worked. I got the impression she probably couldn't have stood there for 30 seconds, but
I think
as long as she can stand there long enough to get the top, all is well.
You can see her just looking at her finger there. I think she dug her fingernail into one of the screw holes, and that was just enough to find a balancing point there, but these climbers will do anything it takes to get tops at this stage.
So Kokoro, you suspect he could probably get away without topping this boulder. There's only been 2 tops in it so far, so if he doesn't get it, it's certainly not the end of the world for him, but by the same token, if he does get it, he's in a very elite category of only 3 climbers who have topped it. It will give him a great start to this semi-final. He's only got 5 seconds. No, he won't. So it will only be 2 tops on men's 1. Of course, this is the last rotation. We won't be seeing any new climbers, if you like. And Sergei Topischko, Janja Garnbret back out at the far right of your screen there.
I'm just trying to make an early prediction here, Charlie, for the Brit. Michaela Tracy's just finished on women's number 4, currently sitting in 3rd position, but we still have potential of really strong climbers still to come through the boulders. Miho Nanaka, Janja Garnbret, Shauna Coxey, so she is on the cusp of making finals, and it'd be cool to see her there, but there's a lot of talent still to come, and not to even to mention Petra Klinger. So we are, this is the guy from Ukraine, super strong qualifier, Sergei Topischko. I think he's going to enjoy this men's number 2. He's really strong on the powerful climbs. And if we have a look at Janja on the slab, let's see what she's like on the slab. She's obviously incredible with a rope, so she will be technically awesome, no doubt. And you can see great action there. 2 shots, Sergei and Janja. And just off screen, the crowd goes wild for Yone Kruda as we go back to Ukrainian. Yone found a top, put him into a good position. Oh, look at the power, missed a foothold, but no drama. It's going to get that match. Come on, it's going to go off the top of the dual texture. Had a look, but it's surely not meant to be. It's got to get the match on. Come on, Sergei. This guy is such a mutant. So strong and such a long boulder. As we have a look, another top. Petra Klinger finds another. She is putting herself in a superb position for this. So Petra, the local Swiss athlete, so far so good. She's going to be happy with that. She's got 1 more boulder to do. I do believe that is 3 tops for her, so she joins the 3 top club alongside Stasha, who is currently out on women's 4. There's a lot of action going on at the wall here at once, and remember guys, you can check in with the scores if you have the IFSC scoring app, and we will bring them up regularly for you on the screen.
Yeah, just apologies, just disappeared for a couple of minutes. I was just chatting to Graham Alderson then, who we spoke to on the live stream down at the wall earlier on today, and he was saying there was a technical incident for Jone Kruda on men's 3. There was a moving hold, as I said. It's now been corrected, but he will get extra attempts at the end. Exactly when at the end is, we haven't had confirmed yet, but Jone Kruda will go back for more attempts at men's 3. I'm afraid I can't provide you any more details than that, but...
Well, that's going to be interesting, Charlie, because the results at the end then will be provisional. If Jone finds a top on that boulder after the round is finished, he could in theory find a position in the final. So our results at the end could be affected by that, so we'll keep an eye on that, see how that pans out.
I suspect that he will, Graham couldn't guarantee it, by the way, that's why I'm being so vague, but I suspect that while Kokoro Fuji is in his rest period before men's 4, so when Sergei Topischko is on men's 4, I suspect that's when they might let Jone take his extra attempts, but we shall see.
Yeah, okay.
Not confirmed yet.
Yeah, so currently 2 tops does get you into the finals. Currently 1 top in 1 attempt gets you through the finals, but Jone did get a top on men's number 4, so yeah, that's definitely going to have an effect on the competition. And with so much going on, obviously he made that hold move somehow, probably just by being so strong and just nearly ripping it off the wall, but Jone's in good form.
He's a pretty big lump actually, and I think if anyone's going to get the hold move, it'd be him. But just having another look at Janja on the slab. Heading up to the bonus, she's just setting herself, trying to figure out if she can use that left hand. uses them both simultaneously, but you can see she knows she's off long before she hits the mat. It's away with the slab boulders. So Sergei Tapishko, he topped number 1.
Yeah, he's had a few goes at this now, and 40 seconds left. He really needs to get on with this, because we know this move and the next move is super, super hard. Only a few tops on this boulder. So come on, Sergei. Come on. Going for alternative beta. This could actually work. Spoke too soon. It's too far through. Obviously, he got the foot, but to go all the way through there with a hand, not only would it have been very, very dangerous, some might say, out there, it would have been really impressive, but doesn't look like it's meant to be on men's number 2. But yeah, it's all going to come down to 3 and 4 in the men's after number 1.
So that's Stasha Geho. She's done here in the semi-finals, and not a bad morning's work here in Switzerland. That's 3 tops for her in 5 attempts. She's currently sitting in provisional first place. So men's 1 and women's 1 now finished with, and we're on to Shona Cox and Kokoro Fuji back out. Let me see the Meiringen crowd. Where is she? In a tennis centre here at Meiringen. Slightly surreal to arrive on Wednesday, whenever we arrived, and still kids having tennis lessons where there was about to be a World Cup. I should add that the wall was already open, all the area with the mats, pretty much everything on the camera there, but where the crowd is standing, there's still people receiving tennis lessons. Slightly surreal. By the time we arrived to start properly on Thursday morning, it was all sorted and looked as it does now, which is pretty spectacular. It's quite an unusual venue, but I really like it. It's big enough to get a good crowd, but small enough to have a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's an incredible town here as well, Charlie. It's, like you say, the atmosphere is just built by being in such a beautiful town, and what a great setting to have a World Cup. And you know, the athletes may be off to go bouldering around the rest of the world after this, and to be here in Switzerland, they'll be definitely making the most of the town and the local climbing. As we have a look at Miho on women's number 3, this will put in her in a really good position. Currently sitting in 5th, finds another top. She will join the 3 top club. She will be around 3 tops in 6 or so, which will put her below Stasha. So Stasha maintains their position, number 1.
So Kokoro, no top for him on number 1. Needs this really. Put himself under a bit of pressure by not topping men's 1. I know only 2 other climbers did, but he did qualify first. And he was 2nd overall in the World Cups last year. Wow.
Come on, the way he's holding that hold is completely different to all the other athletes. Just wrapping the outside of it. It's gone the right hand, but unfortunately, we know that doesn't really work. So yeah, matching that hold just seems to be so difficult. It looks, to be honest, from here it looks like a pretty decent hold, but the way the foot's positioned, obviously the foot's big as well, but the angle of the ball and the positioning of it just makes it so difficult to transfer the weight all the way over to the right. We saw that matched, and then slowly moving up with the left hand rather than the right. But Shona Coxey then onto the slab. Obviously she topped number 1, and she's pretty decent on a slab, so we would expect to see a top here for Shona, but Yanya before her really struggled. Just off camera, Jongwon Chon tops number 4, so Jongwon looking super strong. Oh, this is interesting. Just 2 minutes left for Shona, and struggling. I think we get to have another look at Miho. It's a really cool move here, really dynamic move. Look at that, awesome shot. And we've got the replay of men's number 3. Alexi finds another top here, we believe, in 2 attempts. So you can see how tenuous this slab is, just so tenuous, just such a slow move. And obviously that technical incident hasn't really affected that boulder, it's as it was.
Yeah, that's 2 tops for Alexei Rubtsov, 2 tops in 4 attempts.
I think the crowd's gone a little bit quiet here, because it's a bit of a shock not to see Shona up on this women's number 2, but we'll see. Climbers slightly later on in the competition seem to be struggling, but Shona tries a different method.
Yeah, there was a really graceful looking way of doing it. Unfortunately not effective, but it was certainly a new beta. Let's have a look at Kokoro.
Oh, he's going for sort of double palm downs here. Oh, he's the first guy to go right hand and sticks it. Nicely done.
He needed that, Kokoro. There's, as I said, a little bit of pressure.
Charlie, the method there was really interesting. He sort of had the left hand pocket, managed to flip the right hand to palm to get a bit of height, and then almost palm down on a 2-finger pocket. It was a bit of a crazy method. As you see, Kata Zarwine sticks the jump at the start. That is one of the hardest moves of the tour, and Kata's looking really strong here this weekend. Currently sitting in fourth position, 2 tops in 3 attempts. This will put into a really strong position, but she may need this to get through. We'll see. She's got the top of that, but she's on the dual texture. She's on the slippery bit, and it's no good. But Shauna, I believe, has walked off the stage with 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's such a time-consuming technical slab that there's probably not much point using your energy and your time on 20 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you would favour for Shauna on women's free. We're starting to see a number of tops now, so Shauna's still got it all to play for. But what a cool move! The crowd loved that. It looks like she's going to be short of time, but that was awesome to see. Kata Zarwine, oh, she's got 1 second left. I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, she's out of time, but tops it. Oh, that is heartbreaking, Charlie.
It is a heartbreaker. I couldn't hear the buzzer through my headphones, but I was looking at the clock. She was certainly out of time, and certainly she seemed to think she was as well. So I assume there was an audible buzzer. She knew that she was out of time, and we could just see her down the front of the stage actually, and chatting to her husband Jorg Verhoeven. And yeah, she doesn't look very happy. I think she missed that one by a split second.
Yeah, with her sitting in 4th position with 2 tops in 3. Will it be enough? It's going to be really close now, and obviously it's still to play for Janja and Shauna, still to come out. Janja's on the wall at the moment. You can see there on women's number 3.
We haven't spoken much about Thilo, the young Norwegian climber. You can see that he's standing on the mat. He was really the surprise package of yesterday, Thilo Schröter, and qualified in 4th place. So far, got on with the boulders in the semis as well as he got on with the ones in the qualifiers, but we shall see. His amazing performance from him yesterday seemingly came from nowhere. He looked pretty in control throughout the day. I was actually in Norway last week, so I'm quite confident with my Norwegian accent. Schröter. So everyone on the mats right now, apart from Thilo. Now Petra Klingler, the world champions, far left on women's 4. Janja Garnbret, the world champion in lead, is on women's 3. And then to the right of her is Thilo and Sergei Topishko on men's 3. So the left-hand side of the stage here in Meiringen is where the action's at. They've got a very big crowd. Great to see. I don't mean to sound too surprised, but we normally get a decent crowd for the finals in World Cups. Semi-finals, you win some, you lose some, but we're definitely winning here in Meiringen. There must be close to 1,000 people in the hall. Great to see.
Yeah, just the way the arena's set up here, just you can see in the crowd, everyone's got their camera phones out, capturing the action. It's so cool. Hopefully we'll see lots of that as we see another top. It's Janja Garnbret, and she needed that. That will make her two tops. Currently it's 2 in 6 with Fanny Gibert that gets you into the finals, and that is 2 tops in 6 attempts. So it's getting really close. It looks like it's going to come down to attempts here on tops to get you into the final. 2 tops in a number of attempts, not many.
It'll be very interesting actually. That should really help Janja out, because she's gone in with 2.5 extra minutes of rest. It's not like the finals where you have a whole rotation before you back out again. You've got a 5-minute rest and you're back in the semis. So to win yourself an extra 2.5 minutes rest by topping early could come in very handy, especially when you're heading out onto this women's 4, which is extremely physical. It's the steepest part of the wall. It really takes it out of you. So Janja not only tops women's 3, but I think has increased her chances of topping women's 4 by getting it done so quickly.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and unfortunately Janja has knocked out the French champion Fanny Gibert, falls into 7th position, so a real shame for Fanny. She's going to have to live to fight another day, and hopefully she can recover from this disappointment and come back. As we have a look at the current world champion Petra Klingler from Switzerland fighting here. She's got to get a left hand on that hold, and she is so strong. Oh.
Yeah, the crowd were quiet earlier. I mentioned it when she was on the slab, as if they didn't want to disturb her. No such worries on the overhanging boulders right behind her. Still looks as if she just didn't quite figure out that move on the bonus, the hand swap.
I mean, you do wonder with Petra, she's always looked so happy, but you do wonder if she knows that she's most likely done enough already with 2 tops in 2 attempts. We know it's going to be 2 tops that gets you through, so you know there's a good chance that she doesn't need to do this. But in theory, the climbers don't know. But whether she can sense it from the crowd or she's somehow found out, you don't know. But she'll keep fighting. She wants to do the boulders. She's one of those athletes who just wants to keep fighting, wants to top everything.
She's burning through the attempts here, but as you said, Mike, I don't think that will matter. It's now interesting. It's the move before that's now causing problems. Keep an eye on that. Sergei Tapishko, meanwhile, men's 3. Tilo out on men's 4. Here she goes again. Yes, that move up with the right hand. I think I've been keeping an eye on her even when the camera's been off her. And I think that's at least 3 or 4 attempts now that have been used just on that move, which earlier on she seemed to have dialed. 12 seconds left. She won't get the top. No.
I mean, that's the sort of move that when we, as Ruth says, we say a low percentage. I mean, it's so hard to stick that time and time again. It's incredible timing, not to hit only the right hand, but to find the left hand in the perfect position and the body position all at the same time. But that does end the round for Petra Kalinga. She has done enough. We will definitely be seeing her later on in the finals. And I don't know, to have a Swiss in the final is really cool. Just
as an aside, actually, I know Petra, you can see it there. There's our current scores. Stasha Geho, Miho Nanaka, the only climbers with 3 tops so far. Keep an eye, still plenty to come. Shauna Coxey, you see her down in there in 13th. She's still got 2 boulders to go if British fans are just tuning in and having a heart attack. She's still got plenty of time.
Yeah, speaking of British fans, Shauna could, in theory, if she does the next 2 boulders, she could knock Michaela down to 6th. So it's going to come down to what Janja does and what Shauna does to see if Michaela makes it through.
I was about to say with Petra, actually, whether or not she knew the score, I'm not sure, but if she didn't know the score, she was I slightly frivolous, really, in how she was using her attempts, because there was about 6 seconds to go and she jumped on for another go, and at one stage she was just attempting the same move over and over and over again. I hope she did realise that she was probably into the final anyway, because if not, that's not great management of your attempts, because that could well have cost her if it came down to attempts and she's just repeatedly jumping on the wall, even with 6 seconds to go, and you got no chance of getting a top.
We just turn our attention
wouldn't be the brightest, so I hope she did know.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie, I was going to say we turn our attention to Shauna, because realistically she needs a top. She needs 2 tops. She cruised boulder number 1, so it looks like she's cruised boulder number 3. So she'll put herself in a great position. I think that'll be 2 tops in 2 attempts. We will check the scores and get back to you, but Shauna's back in the game after struggling in women's number 2. She looked a lot more casual there, looked relaxed and had recovered psychologically after failing on women's number 2, and that's one thing Shauna's really good at, is just keeping composed, not let a failure get to you, and just take every boulder as it comes, take it as an individual event. And what a move! Superb there, Miho Nanaka. Incredible strength there from Miho to swing on one arm like that was absolutely crazy. We've seen a lot of the other athletes not even be able to hold that, and once again Miho Nanaka looks dangerously strong. Come on, Miho. Can we see another top here from Miho? She's already in 2nd place with 3 and 6. Can she be the only climber in the tour, men or women, to find 4 tops? Come on, Miho.
What a statement this will be.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the shoulders working, the back of the shoulders working super hard there.
Well, Charlie, I'm totally blown away by that attempt. Just the way she nailed this first move was it was ridiculous. I mean, look at the strength there, the feet above the hands. That was, what a replay, so cool.
Yeah, just another bit of news for you. Graham Alderson, our technical delegate, he's been back over. I chatted to him earlier on down by the mats, and he said, yeah, Meiringen's going great so far. Well, since then, he's had his work cut out, so maybe there's a moral to the story. But a bit more news from Graham on men's 4. Jongwon Chon was given the top by the boulder judge. That was overruled by the jury. He will get 2 minutes 25 to try again at the end. So Yanae Kruder and Jongwon Chon are not finished. Jongwon Chon has more time available on men's 4, and Yanae has more time available on men's 3.
So just to help you explain that situation then, so there is, I believe, 2 judges for every boulder, but the jury present have the overall say. So, the judges have got an incredibly difficult task out there, and most likely they're all volunteers as well. So all of the attempts are filmed, obviously not only on the live stream, but they have individual cameras as well. So if there is an appeal, possibly another team has appealed against Jungwon Chon's atop, or the judge may have given it to him and then said, look, can you have a look at this? And they'll go back and they'll analyse that, and that could affect today's result.
Yeah, when we refer to the boulder judge, we mean the official who's sitting right underneath the boulder, at the edge of the mats, and they only look at one boulder. That is the boulder judge, and at this event they are all volunteers. So he's been overruled, unfortunately. Good news for Jungwon, he'll have, good news in that he'll have more time, bad news in that he got the top taken away.
So we have a look at Alexei Rubtsov, the Russian athlete, looking good here on men's number 4. Alexei finds the top. He's definitely going to be joining us later on this evening in the finals. Fine work for Alexei. That'll be 3 tops for him. That'll put him in first or second position. So great work. Another fine afternoon's work for Alexei. This man doesn't really seem to struggle at World Cups these days.
No, he seems to like the air in Switzerland. Probably couldn't afford a house here in Meiringen, but he likes it.
So Charlie, just off screen there, I can see Jone Kruder is getting chalked up again. So he'll be getting ready for his re-attempt on number 4, was it? Number 3.
Number 3. It's Jungwon Chon who's going to be out again on number 4. So Yone's out, being directed by Graham Alderson, who I just mentioned.
So Yone is currently 1 top in 1 attempt. Right, so sitting down at the front, you can see him sitting in the mat, so the judge will have a stopwatch and they'll get his time exact for that technical incident. So Yone is currently in 6th position, so if he does this, he's looking really good for a final spot. So it's an incredibly pressurised situation here for Yone.
Yeah, interesting. The scores are actually on the big screen right behind him. I don't know if he's actually had a look or if he happened to look at the right moment when the men's scores were up, but yeah, there is a lot of pressure on Yone. This is big. He's betting the farm on this one. As ever. I can see him from here. Big grin on his face, doesn't look too concerned.
Yeah, because if Sergei next to him tops this, men's number 4, it's going to come down to attempts with Yone. So yeah, it's still all to play for that last spot in finals, it would appear.
Being the character he is, I suspect whether he knows that or not, Yone would still be smiling and relaxed. But it'd be good to see what he can do on men's 3. He is under a lot of pressure whether he knows it or not. And his teammate and compatriot Janja Garnbret thus far, you can see her on the left of your screen there, not getting on too well with women's 4. It's a good view of it.
Yeah, Janja Garnbret, as it sits, is 2 tops in 4 attempts, which puts her currently in 7th, so she really needs to get on with this with 3.5 minutes to go. Obviously, if she defines the top, that would fire her straight up to the leaderboard into probably 3rd position, depending on the number of attempts. So Janja really needs this now, and it'd be a bit of a turn up for the books for her not to make finals.
She goes again.
She's finding the left hand, but the right hand's just sliding as she starts to slow down the move. So she's looking pretty despondent there, to be honest. She's holding her back also, so I'm not sure if she's suffering. She had a really heavy fall yesterday. I do wonder if that's managed to affect her performance at all. Yeah,
there's a photo of that fall on the IFSC Facebook page. It's quite extraordinary. She basically landed upside down. I was certainly had a quick chat with Dom and Skofic earlier. Certainly didn't mention it, not that he necessarily would if his girlfriend was injured, but doesn't seem to be troubling her now. Safely through that move. But
this time then, Charlie, looking really strong. She's managed to stick the first move and she's not struggling on the later moves. Come on, Janja. Oh, absolutely dominates the end of that boulder, showing true class. Nicely done. That is going to put her into a great position. Oh, it's getting so close here.
It's great. The sight of Janja sort of launching like that and the legs firing out was quite a familiar sight in the lead World Cups last year. It's great to see her doing it above a boulder mat. And there's Jone.
Jone on his rear attempt. Look how much it means to him.
Something tells me he did know the score, judging by that reaction. That's not a man who's knows he's just clinched 16th place. He knows that was big.
It looks like he's just won the World Cup, never mind potentially qualified for the finals, but so difficult to come out in a technical like that and to have to come back, regather yourself and come out and crush the boulder. I mean, psychologically that is true strength, and you can see how much it means to him.
Yeah, as I suspected would be the case, he was out while Sergei Topishko attempted men's 4, which he's currently doing. Sergei just a 1 top so far on his second attempt on boulder 1. Bonus on every boulder, but only one top at this stage. 1 minute 20 to rectify that situation. Funny boulder this men's 4. You've got the kind of the steep start, pulling onto very, very technical moves to a tiny hole at the top. Feet are down again. Doesn't look overly enamoured with this one. He's got a minute to do something about it though, but the nature of this boulder and the change of pace, if you like, midway through it means needs to get on with it. He might have time for, if this first attempt doesn't go well early on, he'd probably have time for another go, but let's just see what he's doing here. About 35 seconds to go. I think this could be the last attempt, certainly be the second to last. No, feet are down again, so it will be one more attempt. Only 20 seconds to go. He'd really pushed for time. We had a quick look at the clock there and suddenly realised how much time he'd burned up. Now it's time to go.
Just looking at the scores then, Charlie, it's all going to come down to the last boulder to finalise our list. Kokoro Fuji needs to top men's number 4 to secure himself a position into the finals. Currently Yone, who we just saw on his reattempt of men's number 3, is sitting in 6th with 1 top in 1. Kokoro currently out with 1 top in 2 attempts, but still with this boulder in hand, so it's all down to Kokoro Fuji. Pressure is on for him. And Shauna Coxey got it in the bag as always, 2 tops in 2 attempts. So Shauna's happy, currently sitting in 4th position, so the women's list is pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Shauna really stressing herself too much on this boulder, especially after she injured herself in the World Cup in Munich back in August. I suspect, judging by how Yone Kruder reacted to his success, I suspect the athletes have got a pretty good idea about the score. It is up on the big screen, but obviously the athletes spend most of the time in isolation. They can't look at the big screen for most of the time, so you would imagine Shauna knows not to use too much energy on this boulder if it doesn't go her way.
Yeah, so here we go then with Shauna, completely different bait to everybody else. She's not read it just right yet. She's quite interesting. She went into the shoulder. I did talk to the route setters about that, and what I mean by that is there's the hold on the blue undercut volume. We'll come back to that in a minute with Shauna, but Kokoro Fuji needs this right now. If 2 tops, the attempts aren't so important, but it's 2 tops he needs to get through and knock Yone out, which would be a real shame after that celebration, but ooh. Maybe he knows, the crowd knows, it's getting really nerve-wracking out there.
I think he was a couple of centimetres away from losing his front teeth there. That was a bit of a nasty fall, but
so what I was saying about
Shauna.
Yeah, what I was saying about Shauna is this completely different method that all the other girls haven't used, and I spoke to the route setters about it and asked them if that was a potential method, and they said it is, but realistically it's going to be really hard to do it that way. So, I mean, Shauna, she's already in finals, she doesn't really need this, but probably she doesn't know that and will want to get the boulder done. She's going to know people have topped it, especially Yanya after the last go. There's a lot of crowd support for that, so she knows that she potentially needs this.
Shauna's just to keep you up to date, Shauna's just pulled on again. There she is. Just gently steps down. So both Kokoro and Shauna just on the mats now. Just chilling. Don't forget, Jongwon Chon, he'll be back out on men's 4 for 2 minutes 25 worth of attempts. He was originally awarded it by the boulder judge, the judge who does that individual boulder, but that was overruled by the jury, and he'll be back out and he'll have to try again. But you'd imagine big confidence from knowing that if he can almost do it, he can come very close to doing it, and he's got 2:25 to get the job done.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to double check the scores, but I don't think, to be honest, whatever Jongwon Chon does on that boulder, I don't think he can make final, so we'll just double check that.
There you can see, as we do that, Shauna Coxey, amazing result. They were her last 3 results in 2016, a year she pretty much dominated World Cup bouldering.
It took Shauna a number of attempts there to figure out the method, and once she does, she sticks it first time. That shows true strength and class there, and she's going to go right hand, which means she's going to need that match. The fight in the pocket, but Yeah, let's see how Shauna gets on this. Currently sitting in 5th, 2 tops in 2. So she's safe, but she'll want to get it done. And if she can get 3 tops, she burnt a lot of goes on the bottom of this move, but I think that'll put her in 3rd position. So Shauna's looking good, and she's looking like she's enjoying herself, super relaxed, goes down to the foot, but look at the strength in the left arm, just locked off, so solid. Come on now, Shauna, she's putting on a good show here. Come on, Shauna, finish it off. Looking good, this will be a good confidence booster. Nicely done, Shauna Coxey, fantastic work. Shows her true class, shows why she's world number 1, and Kokoro Fuji finds a top as well. We do believe that is going to put him into the finals. So at the deaf, Kokoro Fuji finds 2 tops. We'll wait for the system to update here, but hopefully that's enough for Kokoro to make it through. And what a way to go down on the last boulder with just 30 seconds remaining.
So although the crowd dispersing, they perhaps don't know what we know, that Jongwon Chon's coming back.
Yeah, that has pushed Kokoro into finals in 5th position. Gabriella Morodi misses out. It does enter the competition then. We will have... Yeah, here we go then. So great semi-finals. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. There is actually a tiny bit more action to come, and I'm not sure if the officials here knew who are doing the lighting rig, but we will talk through the women's semi-finals. So that is pretty much confirmed. Miho Nanaka dominated 4 tops in 9. Stasha Geho, superb performance in 2nd. I do believe we're actually going to cut. It's all happening here in Meiringen at the Felsberg Cup. We are going to cut to Jongwon Chon, who, as Charlie mentioned, does have a few minutes remaining on his 4th boulder because he was awarded it incorrectly. So we're going back to that. There's a few officials running around all over the place, and we will bring you those results as soon as the competition is actually finished. Charlie, it's all happening here. It's crazy already.
Yeah, apologies there. The crowd, I don't think, realised Jongwon was coming back, and some of the scorers didn't realise that. One of the key issues, of course, when you've got a Boulder World Cup like this with lots of different nationalities and loud music playing is communication, and so it proved there. But we aren't finished. We're very nearly finished, but we are not finished.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the scores. So he's already, he's been given this top already on the scoring system, so to be honest, I don't think this really affects anything in the competition. We will keep an eye on that. It's a little bit confusing here. There's a lot of technical delegates sort of running around shouting at each other down at the bottom, and Kokoro's looking pretty relaxed, to be honest. So maybe he knows what the deal is. He probably knows he can't really go further, but they are the rules. Let's see how we get on.
Jongwon is just... So the information we were given was that he would have 2 minutes 25 in which to try and complete the boulder. So perhaps they're waiting for the clock to tick down to 2:25. It would seem a slightly inefficient way of doing things, but that could be what we're dealing with.
Yeah, he's on the system currently. It shows him with one top in 2 attempts. So this boulder number 4 was his only top. So he can't actually really progress anywhere on the scoreboard. So, this is just to kind of get things ticked off. But, what an incredible athlete. You can see there on the screen. Incredible set of results. And he is in super form. So, unfortunately, the semi-finals, maybe the style didn't suit him or something was not quite right for Jongwon Chon today. But with such a stacked field, it's so hard to make finals. So we're just waiting for Jongwon Chon to finish.
So I think it's going to start at 2:25. I don't know why they couldn't just reset the clock to start at 2:25, but there we go. I don't run the clock system. Anyway, we know where we're at now.
It gave him a chance to have a little sit down. That was nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the crowd have now all moved over. They've probably got no idea why they've got another climber back on, but they'll enjoy watching it.
It's quite a funny situation actually, because you've got however many 100 people here, maybe 1,000 people just all watching Jongwon Chon wrestle his way up a really hard slab. But it'll show why he's such an incredible athlete. Just the way he's cruising this is testament to his mentality. And well done, Jongwon Chon, to come out and do that. It was really impressive. We do know that doesn't really affect things. So he proved. The judge didn't give him his top before, but he deserved it, and he just showed why. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you the results for tonight's final. And I don't know about you guys, but it was so much fun here at semi-finals. The women's results will be coming up very, very shortly, and Charlie, I don't know about you, I'm really looking forward to finals.
Yeah, very, very excited. It feels like a long time since we saw any climbing in the IFSC. It's great to have it back. So we see there Miho Nanaka was first, Sasha Gehu. I recommended her as someone to keep an eye out for. Prediction came true, second place. Shauna Coxey third, Janja Garnbret was fourth, Petra Klingler fifth, Katja Zauerwein in sixth, and Michaela Tracy, bit of a heartbreaker, just missed out on seventh. We feared that might happen.
Yeah,
Fanny Gibert-Salsar also missing out.
Michaela just missing out on one attempt on a bonus there, so real heartbreaker for Michaela. But a great performance nonetheless, you've got to be pretty happy with that.
And we see a bit lower down the order, Megan Mascarenas, a climber that a lot of people would have expected more from here in Meiringen, didn't get on with it. Her compatriot Sierra Blair Coyle slightly higher up the order, the two Slovenians 18th, 19th, and Meiko Taki finishes in 14th place. Koe Collier, we enjoyed watching her, but only 15th for her.
So in the men's category then, Rei Sugimoto, 3 tops in 7 attempts, the Japanese dominating once again. 3 Japanese into the final. Second, the one and only Lexi Ruptoff, who won here last year, 3 tops in 9. That was a great effort. Superb for the German David Fierenberg to make a final. He'll be super psyched with that. Jerne Kruder, obviously getting that top on his reattempt of men's number 3 was, you could see how much that means to him. And Kokoro Refugi getting in on the last boulder, joining him, fellow Japanese climber Watabi Keita. Superb effort from them. Gabriella Romerni, that one man just to miss out, unfortunately. So super great semi-finals for the men's, and really, really, really looking forward to the finals. And a couple of names to miss out. Jung Won Chon, like say, a bit of a surprise. Jan Hoyer, another surprise. Dmitry Sharafutnov, wasn't meant to be for him. Just so hard to get through, and all the boulders got topped, which was superb, but it was just a really hard round, as we would expect in a World Cup semi-final. The perfect route set, I would say. It went really, really well.
So there we have it, IFSC 2017 off to an explosive start here in Meiringen. The finals are tonight at 6:30 p.m. local time. We'll be live at 6:15. Hope you can join us then. Thank you for watching.